Seahawks football is brought to you by CenturyLink. Fast internet and low prices. Get it all at CenturyLink.com. Pepco Insurance. We're a lot like you, a little different. Washington's Lottery and the Department of Imagination. Imagine the possibility. A good look at Alcatraz here in the Bay Area. We're on the east side of the San Francisco Bay in Oakland, ready to wrap up the preseason. Both these teams. There's preseason finale. Seahawks come in at 2-1. Raiders at 1-2. And Brock, this is one of those nights where the guys that are on the field and playing might have to manufacture a little energy because it's not really going to come from the crowd tonight.
Yeah, a little bit different than what we've witnessed and experienced at CenturyLink over the last two games where it has been sold out and the Seahawks have just played fantastic football. You're absolutely right. I don't even know if this is a third full tonight on what is an absolutely perfect night for football. Very little winds, really not that warm. And outside of some of the field conditions that Max Strong pointed out in the open, yeah, these Seahawks, I think, are ready to tangle and tackle these Oakland Raiders.
Well, you take a look at the starting lineups, at least the ones that we have been given. We'll see when they take the field. Seahawks pretty much going with their regular starters, going to play a series or two, we suspect. And if you've spent your offseason being a big NFL fan, studying all the moves the Raiders made, throw away everything you learned. They're playing just about nobody tonight.
It is pretty remarkable, isn't it, that if you were just to look at the inactives tonight and say, which team do you think is the defending Super Bowl champs? And you would look at a team that's sitting 11-year vet, 15-year vet, 10-year vet, 10-year vet, 10-year vet, 8-year vet. Well, that team's actually the Raiders. They are the much older team. And as you referenced, Pete Carroll and these Seahawks, they're not going to rest guys. They're young, they're hungry, and you're going to see many of their stars here, at least for a series.
You see all those guys out there for the Raiders? None of them are starting except 59, and he's the long snapper. He's the only one expected to go tonight.
Heads is the call. It is tails.
Ed Hockley with the coin toss.
Raiders have won the toss. You wish to defer. Los Angeles has won the toss and will defer. You wish to receive. Which
he called them Los Angeles, didn't he?
Just the way we're set up. Seattle will receive.
Somebody forgot to tell him they moved back to Oakland a couple of years ago, a couple decades ago now. Well, Pete Carroll wanting to finish strong, no matter who's on that field, and you talked about it in the open. It's not necessarily about winning or losing, but it's about how you perform.
And it's about how you finish. And this team has got to get ready to play in 7 days. And when you've dominated the way that Pete's crew has over the last 12 preseason games, the only blemish is that Denver game where you sat 18 guys, not by choice like Oakland tonight, but by being very cautious with many of the guys that were beat up there early that first week. And yeah, we have seen the last 2 weeks, you talk to the Oakland people, they've watched as well, just the dominant effort that Pete's roster's put together. And tonight, you're going to get a chance to not only see the ones in that opening drive, but plenty of backups play throughout as well.
When you were a player, if you were given a choice, would you want to play that fourth preseason game if you were started?
Well, I think you want to get a little taste of it. It is different, though. Dennis Allen's going to have, 10 days to get ready for the New York Jets in New York. It really is a different animal for these Seahawks that play in 7 days. They'll come home tomorrow, and they'll have the day off, and they've got to make an awful lot of roster moves and transactions to get down to 53. And then Saturday's already Tuesday of game week normally. So that kickoff is going to be fast upon you. So would I still want to get a series like Russell Wilson? Probably. And I certainly would want to move that ball right down the field. And I know that's what he's thinking. Move that ball, finish as they finish so many drives this preseason. Leave a good thought in your mind before Green Bay comes to town.
We'll see Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense first. As you heard, Raiders won and deferred to the second half. So Giorgio Civecchio just signed 2 days ago by the Raiders to kick things off. Ryan Walters, who's in that battle to be one of the backup wide receivers, maybe punt or kick returner, is back to receive. He missed last week's game with bruised ribs. And we are ready. Walter bringing that up. It slips on this turf. Dropped it about the 19-yard line. And so Russell Wilson and the Seahawks' first-team offense will start from there. You see his numbers in the preseason. He has been spectacular.
About as efficient as you could possibly be. Wanted to be at 70% for this season. He's just shy of 77%. I think this drive is also important for Max Unger and Russell Okung. And Russell's got plenty of work. Britt and Sweezy have got plenty of work. But this is also about getting Max and Okung one more good series before the regular season begins.
So just shy of the 20-yard line, Robert Turbin in at tailback. Wilson going deep on the first play, looking for Kearse. Jermaine Kearse, hand fighting Well, that's one way to start it. "44 yards on the opening play.
And a really good job in pass protection there as well. An excellent job of scanning across the formation. You see the good play action fake here, and Turbin comes all the way back. You see those eyes? That's a free runner coming at him, and Turbin does an excellent job taking care of his responsibility, and you just can't throw it any better than that. Curse finishes on the other end.
So ball now at the 41 of Oakland. Wilson to the tight end, Luke Wilson, or pardon me, that's Zach Miller. The other tight end, he makes the grab. Knocked out of bounds at the 28-yard line, going to be just shy of the first down. And there you see the starting offensive line going for at least the first series, if not more, and probably going as long as we see Russell Wilson in there for sure.
They'll probably say, hey, Russell, that's 2 good ones. How about one more in the end zone? Let's put our baseball caps on.
Turbin, his first carry, cuts it back, and picks up enough for the first down. Well, the Raiders went out and signed a bunch of veterans on the defensive side of the football, and 6 of their 9 draft picks on the defensive side of the football, but those vets aren't playing tonight, at least not most of them.
Yeah, really at every level. 3 new defensive linemen out of 4 starting. You've got a rookie in Khalil Mack that's going to be starting. Both corners come over from the San Francisco 49ers. Just a huge, huge makeover, and doing it with many veteran pieces.
First down at the 25. Wilson over the middle. Luke Wilson makes the catch, and just like that, the Seahawks are on the board.
I don't think they're chanting Luke. I think they're booing the hometown effort there because, well, much like Russell has done all preseason long in this number 1 offense, they have just made the game look so very easy. And you like a couple of those shots. He's been very efficient all preseason long. Nice to see the go route. And this, remember last week, there were 2 shots to Luke Wilson in the end zone. There was both a skinny seam just like this. There was a tight slant route, and unable to finish on those occasions, getting it done tonight.
Stephen Hauschka adds the extra point. A 4-play drive to open things up. It took 1 minute 45 seconds. Russell Wilson perfect, 3 for 3, including the 25-yard score. And the Seahawks are rolling again. The opening drive, the last 10 drives of this preseason by the first-team offense led by Russell Wilson, 8 touchdowns, 2 field goals.
And what have you seen? You've seen multiple weapons, right? You're not just hyper-focused on one guy, and that's what I think is so encouraging moving into the regular season. And for Dom Capers in Green Bay, as they look at this tape over the preseason, the term we used a week ago was pick your poison. You've got a couple tight ends that both catch passes on that drive. You've got Jermaine Kearse showing that, yeah, he could be that big receiver outside running go routes. You know what Percy and Doug and so many of the other pieces could do. It's been maybe one of the best underrated signs of this preseason is just getting absolutely everybody involved, which shouldn't be a surprise as your quarterback continues to gain more and more command of this system.
There's Latavius Murray back to take the kick from Stephen Hauschka. And the Raiders will see what they can do here. They got plenty of time. It took less than 2 minutes for the Seahawks to score. Murray going to bring it out. Good decision. Out across the 30. Good return for Murray. Forced out of bounds by Earl Thomas. And there's a look at Derek Carr, their 2nd-round pick out of Fresno State. He gets the start tonight. Matt Schaub expected to be the starter when the regular season begins. He's nursing a sore elbow.
And remember, Carr in that second preseason game got knocked around a little bit here against Detroit. Had some ribs, had a concussion. He missed last week's game, and this is a real opportunity for him. A lot of folks in town really clamoring for what the rookie can do and what they want to see with having a quarterback. Hopefully, in their case, they can build around.
He's back to pass on first down. Gets it out to his fullback, Jameis Alawale. And he's upended by Bobby Wagner, who's getting a little run tonight after missing most of the preseason. Been nursing that hamstring, and now he's back out there on the field and happy to be so. There's a look at the guys that are listed as the starters for the Oakland Raiders tonight. We mentioned none of their starting receivers, tight ends, running back, fullback, nor quarterbacks. First down from the Seahawks 46. Murray and Latavius Murray runs right into the pile. Cam Chancellor right there to meet him along with KJ Wright. Well, here's a look at the Seahawks defense, and we mentioned one of the names that I'm sure a lot of folks are happy to see back there at linebackers, Bobby Wagner. Finally got back to practice last week, didn't play. That sore hamstring all preseason, getting his first action tonight.
We got a little taste of Malcolm Smith last week as well. They're hoping that Bruce Irvin over the next couple weeks, and that Legion of Boom has been in fine form this preseason as well.
No gain on the last play. Carr under pressure. Floats that one out there, and it's broken up by Richard Sherman, intended for Denarius Moore.
Number 17, Denarius Moore, the intended receiver.
We saw last week for the first time Richard Sherman got thrown out on a couple different occasions from Brandon Marshall, and he just can't do it much better than that. That's hip to hip, and because he is so close in his cushion, he's able to get his eyes around. And I remember a tip like that. I remember a tip that looked an awful lot like that ended up in the arms of Malcolm Smith and sent the Seahawks to the Super Bowl.
And a bunch of Seahawk fans are trying to immortalize with a statue. It will always be remembered, statue or not. So here it is, 3rd and long. Carr zips that one to the sideline. Bryce Butler right in front of Phillip Adams makes the grab for a first down in a gain of 13, maybe 14. We'll see where they spot it.
Well, that's good execution from Oakland here. A 4-man rush, and first and foremost, Carr with the backup O-line has enough time to step up. You're going to see Phillip Adams, player to watch for Max Strong tonight. Jeremy Lane is back home, nursing a little bit of an injury, hoping to get him ready for the season opener, and really giving Phillip Adams an opportunity here with the number ones, at least on this initial drive, to show what he can do. That's a win for the Raiders on 3rd down.
From the Seahawk 42, Latavius Murray through a hole. Dragged down right on the 30-yard line. Earl Thomas with a tackle, but another big gain by this Raider offense. Give him 14 on that one.
You don't see this very often, do you, against the number ones? I think you see the two linebackers there, Bobby and Malcolm, and anytime those two guys fill in a similar gap, going to have a little bit of a challenge there. And give Latavius some credit there. He runs through the arm tackle of Malcolm Smith as well.
Another Raider first down, this one from the 29. Latavius Murray again, cuts it back. Stiff arms Earl Thomas, and Thomas eventually trips him up. Hard running by the young running back.
He's a big kid out of Central Florida, 6'3", 230 pounds, and you can see Earl. He is trying to attack and scratch and claw and punch, take away such a big part of this Seahawks defense. And look at that. He's trying to rip and claw while still holding on to the big man and bringing him down. 39 takeaways, plus 20 in that turnover margin a season ago. And a big reason is because of some of those fundamentals, always ripping and clawing and tearing at the ball.
Here we go. Carr out of the backfield, a Waller again. This time, 7 yards and another Oakland Raider first down.
Good little mix here for Derek Carr. A lot of the local papers are wondering, the conspiracy theorists down here in the Bay Area, they watched a year ago with the elbow injury to Matt Flynn that opened the door for Terrell Pryor, and now Matt Schaub's got a tender elbow, and he's sitting tonight. And some of the folks here in the Bay wondering if this is going to open the door for the 2nd-round pick, and this is an awfully nice drive against the number 1 defense of the Seahawks.
Well, he's definitely the guy Oakland fans want to see play. They're behind him as he leads this opening drive. Here's Jeremy Stewart. Bobby Wagner chases him down from behind. Short gain on the play.
You could see Bobby Wagner getting some of these good game reps in. I think a lot of people will scratch their head and say, boy, why are the number ones in? Why are these guys all playing in this game? Oh, you see it. They're trying to get their legs underneath them and some of that football conditioning. A good chance for Scruggs as well. Greg getting some run here with these number ones. That's the rotation. That's the versatility. That's some of these looks, even in the final snaps of the preseason, that this coaching staff really maximizes to make the decisions they're going to have to make.
Carr flushed out of the pocket underneath. And that ball is caught Latavius Murray. He's actually going to wind up losing yards on the play. Loss of a yard.
Quick release. When you watch Derek a season ago at Fresno State throw 50 touchdowns to just 8 interceptions, a lightning quick release. Get the ball out of his hands. He's just trying to learn all the realm of being a quarterback at this level as a rookie. And unfortunately for him, missing that second, third week of the preseason.
He's playing out of the shotgun, which he's much more familiar with here on third down. Quick pass behind Denarius Moore. He makes the catch right in front of Richard Sherman, and it looks like enough for another Raider first down.
He led the Raiders with 5 touchdown catches a season ago, and once again, Richard's in pretty ideal position there, and he's seeing the action, the throw behind fade, which is going to become very common against these aggressive Seahawks defenders. They know it, they've seen it plenty, and Carr's saying, yeah, that's 2 significant 3rd and 10 situations, passing situations against this #1 group. The Raiders have moved the chains twice, largely, again, with backups up front, even backups out on the perimeter.
First and goal from the 5. Carr underneath, incomplete. Bryce Butler, the nearest Raider over there, but that was way short. Richard Sherman back there in the coverage. It's funny, it was only 2 weeks ago Richard Sherman, we were thinking, wasn't getting a whole lot of action in the preseason.
Yep.
And we've seen it the last 2 weeks, team going at him a little bit.
You know, he does not mind that one bit, and he's probably saying, go ahead, young rookie, throw me a little fade ball one more time.
12th play of the drive. Murray into the end zone for a touchdown. Well, backups or not, that was a good opening drive for the Oakland Raiders against mostly first-teamers for the Seahawks.
That was probably one of the better drives you had seen, frankly, all preseason long. And by the end of it, you did start to see a good mix in that defensive line rotation. You do have your 2s in, Jordan Hill, Brian Schofield, some of the big boys in the middle there getting controlled a little bit. And boy, give Latavius some credit there. He ran awfully hard, and the Raiders put together a balanced drive, converted some 3rd downs, did some things they haven't done all preseason, and certainly that the Seahawks defense is not allowed either.
Took him a little longer, 3 times as many plays, but the results are the same. Raiders on the board now. Each team has touched it once. Each team has scored a touchdown. The legendary Raiderettes and the legend in the making, Pete Carroll. Of course, won a couple of national championships down at USC. A Super Bowl there last year with the Seahawks, and has really turned his franchise around.
Yeah, I'm going to bet having a conversation there with Dan Quinn, who's up in the booth next to us. And you saw the Seahawks rotate that defensive line through. That defensive line rotation continues to be a lot of the conversation. In fact, my radio co-host in town, Mike Salk, has said that rotation was so good a season ago. Those big boys were so fresh, and continuing to find that rotation. And that's why you saw a Scruggsy in there, and even a DeAnthony Smith and a Jordan Hill. They want to continue to see these guys throughout this game so they can put that rotation together.
Which was so vital to the success of this defense
Sure was.
last year. Giorgio Tefecchio kicking it off. Brian Walters back again out of the end zone. Right up the gut. Good return by Walters. Ball came out. And the Raiders recover. Good return, bad ending. And we talked about Walters, one of those guys fighting for a roster spot tonight.
That was the rookie Keith McGill from Utah. We talked about Earl Thomas ripping at that football, and you see McGill come in and punch it away from Walters. You love the effort. And Brian knows this as well as anybody. It's all about the ball in this program. You got to take care of it. Give the Raiders some credit for playing Seahawk football.
And so Oakland takes it over at the 36-yard line. Carr back to pass. Going up top. Right in the hands of Denarius Moore. Touchdown, Oakland. The Raiders now making it look easy.
Well, I'll say this, Kurt. It was a couple preseasons ago that a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, came in with Seattle and just forced the hand of the organization, and that's going to be Phillip Adams. It's just peaking just a little bit. And there you see the arm strength and the arm talent of Derek Carr. There's no question and debate about that. That is a pinpoint pass. Phillip gets caught, take a little bit of a peek, and the rookie says, yeah, I'll throw it right over your head. And Denarius, a couple nice catches for Oakland as well.
Well, flags before the snap on the point after.
Remember, Russell Wilson came on the scene and said, hey, I'm sorry. I know you paid Matt Flynn. I know you had other plans possibly, but I'm going to come in here. It's competition. I'm going to force it. And Derek Carr here, who's had a good camp and a good preseason, and as I said, really would probably have furthered the conversation had he played last week and not been banged up, comes in here, gets a chance to start, and puts 2 drives on the board. As good as any you're going to see, and Dennis Allen has seen from this position in some time.
And the Raiders have scored 14 points in the last 15 seconds on the clock. The rookie, Derek Carr, hooking up with Denarius Moore, turning the turnover into points. Seahawks football brought to you by Sports Authority, proud official sporting goods retailer of the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, we saw Pete Carroll have a conversation in his headset with Dan Quinn, and that time he's having a conversation with the Legion of Boom. Those are really good opportunities, competitive opportunities that the coach labels those chances. Yeah, there's Kippy Brown, the receiver coach, and Pete saying, man, that young rookie looked us off. Derek Carr got back there, and he was staring down, and when Phillip Adams peeked in, Derek was looking down the middle of the field. He turns around, he whips it, throws a just absolute dime in the back of the end zone to put the Raiders up 14-7.
And there's Brian Walters, who lost the football on the last kickoff to really set things up. Fumbled it at the 36-yard line. The Raiders took it the very next play from scrimmage and put it in the end zone. So Walters will get another shot, and that was after a good return. See if he can hold on to the football this time.
My hunch is he's going to take this out.
You think? A guy fighting for a job, wanting to show what he can do, and that's one of the things you worry about, unless it's kicked over his head. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about Derek Carr looking off that defense. He knows it's a single high safety. He keeps his eyes in the middle, and when Phillip Adams looked back, he got flat-footed for just a second, and the Raiders make the Hawks pay.
Just past the midway point of this opening quarter of this preseason finale. Raiders on top of the Seahawks 14-7. Russell Wilson came out, led a 4-play drive to start things, and he is done for the night. Tavares Jackson now in at quarterback. Russell finished 3 for 3 with that touchdown pass. And there you see Tavares' numbers on the preseason.
You know, these coaches love to script everything. They've got scripts done for training camp all the way back in July. They love to plan out every minute. Unfortunately, in some of these preseason games, it's hard to script how it's going to go and how you're going to figure out the number of reps for a Tavares and a Pryor to really get the looks and get Tavares ready to go. My hunch is Tavares is going to get a chance to get sharp, and Terrell Pryor's really going to get an ample opportunity to show what he can do.
Yeah, one would believe that when Terrell Pryor comes in, he will be here for the rest of the night, and so they want to get him as many reps as they can after making sure Tavares Jackson is ready. Starting from the 20, here's Robert Turbin. Nice little 7-yard pickup. Robert Turbin getting a lot of carry tonight. Marshawn Lynch not starting. Kristen Michael, oh, he had a little ding this week in practice, so he's not going.
Solid, stable, consistent. He's a pro. Is he as flashy as Kristen Michael? No. Is he as strong as Beast Mode? No. But you know what? So much of this game is just being available and being accountable week in and week out, and that's exactly what Turbin's been this entire offseason, preseason, and training camp as well.
And he has been solid when given opportunity. He's alone in the backfield. Jackson trying to get Paul Richardson, the rookie, lined up correctly. Here's Turbin. Can't quite get it outside. Penalty marker down on the play.
Huckley looks like he's in regular season form, huh?
He always is. More time for bench press in the offseason.
Offense number 82. 10-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
And that's on the tight end, Luke Wilson.
We're going to see Luke here get those arms extended and just grab and once that jersey is grabbed and tugged, that's a pretty easy call there on Tyvon Branch, starting strong safety of Oakland.
Ball out. Tavares Jackson couldn't pick it up. Raiders go diving in. Let's see who recovered. And that was just a problem with the center quarterback exchange. That ball never got in Tavares Jackson's hands. Ed Hockley and his crew in there trying to dig it out. The Seahawks have recovered.
I think that was Tavares on the
It
bottom.
looks like he finally fell on it.
On the bottom of the pile, and you see the third down productivity. It's been on the other side. Oakland's been really good on their third downs and a little bit sloppy here. A fumbled snap.
Holding penalty, and now a fumbled snap backs him up, makes it 3rd and 17.
Bar set awfully high after the productivity of the last couple weeks. Challenge here halfway through the first quarter.
Jackson working from the shotgun. Had second thoughts and realized probably shouldn't connect with Robert Turbin on that one because Turbin was covered.
Well, we saw a week ago that screen game so effective, and you can always tell screens whether they're effective if you get that good rush from the defensive line. And give credit to Oakland. They watched that tape as well. Saw that screen game, 3rd and 15, a pretty conservative call. None of the D linemen bid on it. And Pete Carroll saying good, throw it away, but let's get that snap on second down and get that squared away.
And they get some work for John Ryan. Only 4 punts all preseason. 3 of those were in week 1 in Denver. So he gets a little action here tonight, punting from his own end zone. TJ Carey on the outside, springs it. Dances around Ryan, finally brought down by Derek Coleman, who saves a touchdown and another big play by this Oakland Raider team.
That was an excellent job by Oakland of blocking up Ricardo Lockett, the gunner. They get some hands on him. Breakdown on contain. Oakland's able to get to the edge there, and Oakland's really being the enforcer here in this first quarter, aren't they? In their run game, in their passing game on third down, and special teams. They
52 yards on that punt, 45 on the return.
They forced the takeaway on the kickoff return.
They pretty much had their way so far, have the Raiders.
It's typically where coordinators like to take a shot here after a momentum play like that.
First down at the 20. Carr goes that way. Ball tipped away. Malcolm Smith, but right into the hands of Michael Rivera. Everything going the Raiders' way.
Well, you're going to see Carr once again. Look at his eyes. He knows where he wants to go. He knows the coverage. And that's a good play by Malcolm. He's inches away. And unfortunately, we've seen this many times. When the ball starts bouncing your way, it continues to bounce that way. Derek Carr says, this game's pretty easy. Kind of like this.
This is the second one-play drive he's already had in this first quarter. 13 seconds this time to score. Their last 2 touchdowns, when you combine it, that one took 6 ticks off the clock.
Been a long time since Seattle's given up 21 points, and I don't care who's playing first, second, or third string. Have not seen this very often.
Maybe a new hero is born in Oakland. It's 21-7. With the largest selection, the Seahawks Pro Shop is your best bet for gearing up for the season. Whether you're on the hunt for authentic jerseys, caps, or other merchandise, head to Seahawks.com/Pro Shop right now.
I'll tell you what that last touchdown pass had on it. That ball had some RPMs. To see that come tip off of Malcolm's hands that way. If Matt Schaub is throwing that pass, I'm sorry, I know it's a fortunate break, and it wasn't a perfect pass. He didn't put it exactly where he wanted to as Malcolm gets his hands on it. But Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator, sitting next to Carr there, knows that, hey, we drafted this kid in the second round because as far as a release and just pure velocity and pure passer, he was as good as anybody in this draft.
It becomes a question for them, how quickly do you want to throw him out there?
Yeah, it was the questions and the scouts when it came down to it were how was he going to be with pressure in his face? How was he going to do with the level of competition rising? There was never a question about whether or not he could really spin it, and that ball was homing.
Here's Brian Walters again. He's out of the end zone on that one. And so another touchback. And Tavares Jackson hoping things go better in his second series. Just over 10 minutes into this first quarter. Everything has gone Oakland's way, 21-7. Seahawks open the game with a 4-play drive. Russell Wilson 3 for 3, including a touchdown pass to Luke Wilson. They led 7-0, but since then, not much has gone Seattle's way. Jackson from the shotgun. Quick pass out to Brian Walters. Scoots his way out to the 27-yard line. Nice little 7-yard pickup.
That was a good shot there once again. And Pete Carroll, and you've seen it a bunch in this first quarter of just him pulling guys aside, whether it was talking up in the booth or in that occasion going to really his leaders there defensively in Sherman and Earl. And you know this when you spend time around the head coach. He does not deem this like others do, and you see it by playing guys versus Oakland sitting everybody. He wants every single time you come out here to be sharp. He wants these competitive opportunities as he deems them to be just that, to be the best you can be and not be sloppy as they've been here in this first quarter.
Yeah, this has not looked good at all. Tyvon Branch in there on the sack of Tavares Jackson. Coming from the safety spot. Seahawks offense has spent as much time going backwards on this last two possessions. And we should know they've gotten most of the starters out of the game with the exception of the tackles. Justin Britt at right tackle and Russell Okun at left tackle. Otherwise, all the number 2s in there. That ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. The rookie Khalil Mack, 5th overall pick out of the University of Buffalo, and he's really come on these last couple of weeks of the preseason.
Yeah, 5 tackles a week ago, an interception as well off of Aaron Rodgers, and you see just a 4-man rush. You've gotten used to seeing that from your Seattle Seahawks, and a little stunt there, and not real good communication between Schilling and Justin Britt there, passing off that stunt. The hands get in the face, and back-to-back 3-and-outs for Seattle.
John Ryan gets another shot at it. TJ Carey, while he won't return it 45 yards this time, met immediately by Stephen Terrell. .315 to go, and so we'll see what the rookie can do now, having to drive a long field. He has been beautiful working in the short field so far tonight.
Well, I can imagine the blogs in the Bay Area and talk radio in this part of town is going to get humming after this game.
They're probably going right now.
Yeah, and I think just based on what you have seen fundamentally and just kind of orchestrating everything. And so I said a couple really good third down conversions against the best secondary in football.
Here's Latavius Murray. Gets through the hole. Finally dragged down Akeem Auguste. getting his first action of the preseason after being down with injury. But you talk about the way David Carr has this offense going. And part of it sometimes is not just the stats and the numbers, although those will look good tonight. But we saw this with Russell Wilson early, the way other players respond to it.
It's command. It's exactly what we're seeing out of Russell in year 3 for him, and him continuing to grow in his game. But can you come in as a rookie and really command that huddle and command the offense?
Here's Carr to the air. Underneath, Latavius Murray out of the backfield. Jerron Johnson meets him immediately.
Jerron's had a really good preseason. Remember, Cam Chancellor had the hip surgery like Bruce Irvin, like Percy Harvin has had, and really opened the door for Jerron to get a ton of work through the entire mini camps. Cam coming back last week. Dan Quinn at one point this training camp pulling Jerron aside and saying, hey man, I've really grown to respect you. You've handled this opportunity exactly as we'd hoped. You've become a real professional, and there is no debate who the third safety on this roster is. That's Jerron Johnson.
Third down, Carr. Dancing around over the middle. Caught. Rivera makes the grab right in front of Stephen Terrell. Jerron Johnson finally stops him. But another double-digit gain for the Raiders. This time is 27 yards.
And that's Auguste once again. No Harold Simon, no Jeremy Lane. So you're getting into some of the depth of your secondary. But what stands out, very little pass rush when you have seen this defense challenge. When Denver moved the ball like this, why was it? Well, that 4-man rush wasn't getting home. And give a lot of credit to Oakland as well. They have finished some tough catches. Yeah, Scruggs gets Carr down at the end, but too much time in the pocket.
Latavius Murray cuts it back. Picks up 5 yards on the run. Final seconds of this opening quarter. Seahawks led it 7-0 after that, all Raiders.
You know how else you can tell command? Watch the tempo of an offense, and you've seen really good pace out of Carr and the Raiders here in the first 15 minutes.
Murray again. Dancing out to the 15-yard line. And another first down.
This is where somebody in that huddle, and probably a Bobby Wagner, has got to tell those guys up front, your Mayoas, your Scruggs, you see an Andrew Pulu in there, hey guys, this is the first quarter. We've got 4 quarters of this. This is not Seahawk football. We are much more stout against the run. Stopping that run sets everything else up. And those defensive linemen that you're seeing in the first, you're going to see them a whole bunch here over the final 3 quarters.
And they look like they need it right now. Seahawks giving up 3 touchdowns in the opening quarter. After scoring the opening touchdown of the game, it's 21-7. Oakland heading to quarter number 2. Drive across the Bay Bridge from San Francisco to Oakland, and that's the new Bay Bridge. It's actually pretty cool looking. Get you right here to the stadium on time for the second quarter. First play. Derek Carr still in at quarterback for Oakland.
Watch that vertical game.
Pump fake. Underneath. Pass caught. Jake Murphy, rookie free agent out of Utah.
This is good. This is a good little test. You haven't been hit in the mouth like this in quite some time. Remember, you've won 11 of your 12 preseason games by an average margin of 20 points. You've really not seen anybody other than Peyton Manning week 1 against a lot of your depth have this kind of success. It's a good little challenge for some of these backups to respond.
Latavius Murray, he's caught in the backfield. Benson Mayoa doing a good job of sniffing that one out. Mayoa, remember last year how he just flashed, the undrafted guy out of Idaho last year, and everybody said, wow, who's that guy? Well, this year he's needed to. He's been in a tight competition throughout much of the preseason with O'Brien Schofield.
Yeah, and Obi has really been the energizer, and he's just had some of those flash and wow plays. I like that. I like some of that emotion and reaction from Benson.
Third down for the Raiders. Carr towards the end zone. Moore touchdown, Oakland.
Boy, he gets rid of that ball quick, doesn't he?
He does. Second touchdown pass to Denarius Moore tonight.
I don't know what Matt Schaub is thinking over there on the sidelines, but I know just physically, Matt Schaub cannot do those things. Now, from a level of experience and throwing for 24,000 yards and everything that Matt has done in his career, but Matt Schaub at this stage is just simply not making that throw.
Right in front of Akeem Auguste.
I mean, you can't throw it any better than that.
No, perfect spot.
And Dennis Allen's been pretty adamant that Matt Schaub is going to start week 1 in New York 10 days from now, but
we got a timeout. Now remember, they review all scoring plays, so I think they're going to take a look just to make sure that he was in bounds on the catch.
So what did we say in the open of this show about the Seahawks players? We said that every head coach, Pete Carroll, Dennis Allen, will tell his team, you make the decisions for us. You force the decisions for us. And right now, Derek Carr is forcing yet another replay of a touchdown for your Raiders.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver had both feet down and possession of the ball. Touchdown.
And when the official says it's confirmed, that means our call was right. Denarius Moore getting both feet down. Referee code, confirmed means our call was correct. The play stands means we didn't see enough to overturn it.
That's exactly right.
And since they said confirmed, that means he got both feet down and had control of the football in their minds. And so Moore, his second touchdown of the game. Derek Carr has thrown 3 touchdowns already. And look at this, 28-7 early on in the second quarter, Oakland on top of this preseason finale.
Well, it shows also seeing the premium on cover corners, right? And how good Byron Maxwell and Richard Sherman really are, and their ability in those one-on-one situations to consistently make plays. And Dennis Allen's not seeing 28-7 on a scoreboard very often here. Back-to-back 4 and 12 seasons for Dennis. He's also seen quarterbacks not make pinpoint precision throws like Derek Carr did in the first 17 minutes of this game.
Smiles all along that Raiders sideline. Why not? This is the 4th preseason game. It's been mostly with those guys, the starters for the Seahawks, out since the opening series or 2. But no matter who you're playing against, Seahawks like to use the line, always compete. Well, this young man Carr has certainly done that tonight and performed well.
Always compete in the depth of your roster, which we were bragging about over the last 2 weeks. It's dominated people over the last 12 games. And you're being stretched now. Some of your depth in your secondary. No Jeremy Lane, he doesn't make the trip. No Thurl Simon, he doesn't make the trip. So now you're down to
your 5th and 6th corners. And they may be guys who, with the roster cut down Saturday, 1 o'clock Pacific time, may not even be on this roster. Here's Brian Walters out of the end zone. Another big return from him out to the 29-yard line. Well, most of the teams are playing tonight. Everybody has to have their rosters down to 53 by 1 o'clock Pacific on Saturday. And after that, you can then establish on Sunday the 10-man practice squad. Remember, they added a couple of extra bodies this season. But the Seahawks, they'll be rolling in a regular season game 1 week from tonight. So time is short. This possession starting at the 29-yard line. Tavares Jackson rolling, looking and finding Luke Wilson. There's a flag down on the play as he spins his way out near that first down marker, but let's see what the yellow hanky's about.
That may be a hold on Oakland there defensively.
I think you can read the lips. We'll take the first down.
Holding, defense. It's a 5-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
Likely he pointed the wrong direction, but he did call it correctly. First down defense. I mean, a penalty holding against the defense, so 1st and 5 for the Seahawks. Got me all confused. First down after the 5-yard penalty.
There's a look at Cassius.
There you go.
And there's a look at Cassius Marsh. And looks like he will not return. Dinged up there in the first quarter with a hip injury, and that's what you really hope to avoid more than anything else the rest of the way.
Here's Robert Turbin on first down. Gain of about a yard on the play. And you see Russell Okung still in the ball game. And remember, he got his first action last week after missing all of camp pretty much, except running on his own after that offseason toe surgery. Got a little winded after playing a couple series last week, and so use him tonight to get his win back.
That's exactly right. And I think that's a smart move. You can't, just like Earl Thomas returning punts and some of the different decisions they make, you have got to get yourself ready. And for Russell, it feels like he needs some of these game reps to get those legs underneath him to be raring and ready to go next Thursday night.
Okung, the only starter still in the game on offense for the Seahawks, is Robert Turbin, who started in place of Marshawn Lynch. Picks up 1 more yard.
You're seeing some of the starters still sprinkled in there for Oakland as well. Big Pat Sims, defensive tackle there. Miles Burris, who had such a good year 2 years ago, 138 tackles. Their stud rookie, their Khalil Mack, the 5th pick overall, and it's good to keep an eye on him. And they are sure hoping he can do a lot of that pass rush and add that level of versatility to their defense.
Jackson on 3rd and long. Down the sideline, Paul Richardson. First overall pick for the Seahawks. 2nd round overall out of Colorado. Makes the grab for the first down, but there is a penalty flag.
And that's a good route. That's unfortunate that's coming back. And there you see a lot of the conversation was, well, Paul Richardson can run posts and he can run go routes and he can run deep overs. What has really impressed Kippy Brown, his wide receiver coach, Pete Carroll, John Schneider as well, is that in and out, not just that burst and that straight line speed. You see it on that comeback, and you see the hold on Okung. He doesn't like it. Hands to the face on Okung. He doesn't like that call. The Seahawks sure like that pass route from Paul Richardson.
Well, this just gives Russell Okung more plays to play, right? Jackson again. This time Ricardo Lockett picks up a couple of yards after the reception, but still going to be far, far short of the first down. 12 yards on the play, but another punt for the Seahawks.
12 yards on that pass play. Number 9, John Ryan is in formation.
Okay, Kurt, you've been doing this a while. You're Dennis Allen following this game, your quarterback situation.
Well, I think if you're worried about the youngster getting thrown to the wolves too quickly, you say we're going to go with Schaub. And this was just the 4th preseason game, and we'll see what happens in the regular season, knowing that by week 3 or 4, Carr's probably going to be your guy. Short punt by John Ryan. Only 32 yards on that one. Been that kind of night for PKL and the Seahawks so far. Here early on. New quarterback in for the Raiders, Matt McGloin, the 2nd-year guy out of Penn State. Came in as a free agent last season and won a job as a backup on this team, and really had been the best quarterback they've seen all preseason until tonight in the performance by Derek Carr.
Actually threw 8 touchdowns a season ago for Oakland. And I don't know how much better it could have gone for Derek Carr tonight, from the opening drive, from the tempo, the command, pinpoint touchdown passes. He's got to feel good about that effort. Coming back, remember, from the concussion and bruised ribs.
Yeah, confusion all over the place on that one.
Number 67, snap infraction. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
That's because it looks like the center, Kevin Booth, didn't remember the snap count. That's why other people were moving and he wasn't. Backs him up to the 25-yard line. 1st and 15. McGloin up top, diving but out of bounds and incomplete. Andre Holmes, the intended receiver.
That was a nice play there by Corey Toomer, and Toomer's a guy that's got to find a way to stay on the field here the rest of the evening. He has been banged up and fought injuries really for 3 years, and you see the play action pass there, and he's not biting. He stays with his defender out there in the flat. It's an excellent play there, reading and diagnosing from Corey Toomer.
Yeah, in his 3rd year, but he's been on injured reserve each of his first 2 seasons out of Idaho. Missed a lot of time during training camp with a hamstring injury this season. Played last week for the first time. Working from the shotgun, here's McGloin. Under pressure, Malcolm Smith right there. First sack of the night for the Seahawks defense.
Well, you've seen one thing consistently here. Those guys that have missed some time throughout training camp are going to get a little extra run here. That's an excellent rush by Malcolm Smith, using his hands, really abusing Jeremy Stewart there, and showing some of that wow, some of that explosion that Seahawk fans have come to love out of Malcolm.
Spent so much time recovering from off-season ankle surgery, now in his 2nd game of the preseason after being named Super Bowl MVP. Looks like he's ready to go. 3rd and long. Underneath, screen play, Jeremy Stewart. Won't get far. Stephen Terrell stops him right at the 24-yard line, so a punting situation, first one tonight for Oakland. So Brian Walters back deep to take the punt from Marquette King. And we've seen Walters with a couple of good kick returns tonight. He did have that fumble after one of them, but we'll see what he can do now here in the punt return game.
He's been around this league long enough to know, and it's not as if you count numbers and you try not to pay attention to all those roster moves. You just do your job. But he knows he's going to make this team, this aspect, the special teams games, what he brings to the table.
Takes it on one hop. Out near midfield, another good return after scooping it up by Walters. And so with 9:05 left to play in the 2nd quarter, Seahawks will come out with good field position. Actually, good job on punt return by Walters. Although Seahawk fans have plenty to do tonight, we'll find out if they want to do something on Labor Day. If they do, and you're in Seattle, just take part in the Seahawk 5K on September 1st at CenturyLink Field. All registered participants will take home an official race t-shirt and a very special finisher's medal. For more information about the 5K and the Kids Play 60 Fun Run, just visit Seahawks5K.com. Our first look tonight at Terrell Pryor. 3rd quarterback we've seen for the Seahawks. That one off the hands of Spencer Ware as Pryor was under pressure.
What does Dennis Allen and Oakland do to say hello to their old friend down here? They bring a little corner blitz at Terrell Pryor, and I'm really looking for him. I guess it's been the buzzword really all preseason long with many of these quarterbacks. So just have control. Have control of your calls in and out of that huddle. Control your calls at the line of scrimmage. A situation like that where Dennis and the Raiders are going to continue to blitz, and you want to bring corner blitzes to have those answers as best as Terrell Pryor can tonight.
Under center on 2nd down. Pryor throws that one high, way too high, intended for Paul Richardson.
Maybe a little extra juice in the stadium.
Nerves?
I think just saw him in pregame. You see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of people in the organization. Won some games for Oakland in the stadium last year, and that was another good comeback route from Paul Richardson. Plays there to be made. Terrell's got to just bring that down.
Now he's got a 3rd down on his opening series as a visitor here in Oakland. Raiders call a timeout.
Timeout, Oakland. That's their first.
Going to give Terrell Pryor a little bit more time to think about it. While they take a timeout on the field, we'll take one, too. Just under 9 minutes to go here in this first half. Well, at 6'4", 230 pounds, Terrell Pryor has all the physical tools It's the speed of decision-making that's kind of held him back a little bit in Oakland and got him traded to the Seahawks. And this may be his final opportunity tonight to show that he can make those decisions quickly enough.
And you can see the long play call there. That tells me some good protection, and he's making sure all the guys with the blitz look here from Oakland are square with the protection. And it's these situations, these third and passing downs that Carr did so well on the other side. Let's see if Pryor can find an answer.
Forced to call a timeout. He kept trying to change the protection and couldn't get it right. Saw something at the last minute and knew he didn't have enough time on the play clock.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's coming up and getting one look. And then you're able to change your protection. And what does Oakland do? They can see that he's changing it. They change back, and that cat and mouse game at the line of scrimmage.
Of course, 1 week from tonight, the regular season begins as the Seahawks will open up the NFL schedule as the Super Bowl champion always does, at home hosting the Green Bay Packers. And then you look at that first month, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team.
Franchise quarterback, franchise quarterback,
Yep.
franchise quarterback.
Franchise quarterback right there.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Just 3 times.
Yeah.
For number
He wears
3.
number 3.
There you go. I got you. Come with you, partner. Here's Pryor. Spencer Ware out of the backfield. Going to be stopped about 3 yards shy of the first down. And they line the big running back up wide.
Yeah, they get
But
in
not
this,
enough.
they get in this empty formation, and this is a look they like, and that's a good read. And he can see the soft cushion. Actually, the defender fall down, and unfortunately, on 3rd and 10, just not enough to move the sticks. How about a fake right here, by the way? How about showing Green Bay a little something out of your bag of tricks?
Well, let's see if John Ryan is up for it since you suggested it. No.
Or not.
Here's Denarius Moore. Makes the fair catch at the 15-yard line. And after opening the game with an 80-yard 4-play touchdown drive, it's been 4 straight 3-and-outs for the Seahawks. Pete's working that gun pretty hard right now.
Never stops.
You talked about the backups on offense getting an opportunity to try and show what they can do tonight. They have not succeeded so far. Here's a chance at a lot of backups and guys fighting for roster spots on defense right now. And Benson Mayowa taking advantage as he stops Jeremy Stewart in the backfield. Second big play we've seen from Mayowa tonight.
Yeah, I think this is as much juice and energy as we've seen from Benson all preseason long. He does a nice job of, he knows he's got that backside containment there, that backside gap, and does a nice job of finishing. What the Seahawks need to do here defensively, and you see it all over their facility, is what? Ball. Take the ball away. Ball, ball, ball. When you're down 28-7 here on the road, you've got to find a way to turn some of that momentum. The best way to do it, as they did a season ago, is take the football away.
Here's Matt McGloin, steps up. Pass intercepted. Kevin Pierre-Louis. He was touched down as soon as he caught it, but the interception will stand. And what a play for the rookie 4th-round pick. There's a penalty flag on the play afterwards, or it appeared to be afterwards. Let's see what they call.
That was good timing.
Yeah.
Hands to the face. Defense, number 98. The 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Seattle keeps the ball, first down. Correction. The Raiders keep the ball, first down.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It's going to be in the middle, and we had so much conversation about the illegal contact, and they're going to call Scruggs. Yep, and you just can't do that. He comes up underneath the face mask there of Menelik Watson, and that's going to negate a real game-changing play there from the rookie Pierre-Louis.
So instead of having the ball deep in Oakland territory, Seattle's still on defense, and the Raiders have a first down. Jeremy Stewart. Tackle made by Pierre-Louis, and so he's got a couple of good plays back-to-back, and good to see from the young linebacker.
Yeah, he can really run. He looks like Malcolm Smith. When you look at just the body type, he is low to the ground. He gets from point A to point B very fast. Some of that finishing, we saw a 31 a week ago where he was on it. He just couldn't quite finish. That time he gets on it
just get that pads down and drive through that tackle. But Kevin Pierre-Louis, very quick to read and diagnose, very explosive.
Here's McGloin out of the backfield. And Kevin Pierre-Louis with the tackle of Alawala.
Boy, it's amazing what that one hands to the face does. Look at what it does to that whole momentum, that whole situation there. You get exactly what your defense is all about. You get a good rush, you get that interception. You should have the ball in the red zone with an opportunity to cut this lead down. Instead, you give the ball right back, a first down. Just there's attention to details in those little plays.
Look at the difference in first downs tonight. O'Brien Schofield just misses Matt McGloin, and McGloin finds a wide open receiver in the middle of the field. Andre Holmes out to the 44-yard line, and another big play by the Raiders. Give him 17.
And this is what McGloin does. He's got a little game to him. Scranton, Pennsylvania, Penn State kid. Played for Bill O'Brien there. Watch the Denver Broncos quarterbacks do that in week 1 as well. Brock Osweiler and even Peyton Manning to a degree, able to get that shoulder out of the way here. Brian Schofield left reaching and eyes downfield, and McGloin's got a little game to him.
So another first down from the 44. McGloin backpedaling. That one broken up and intercepted. Deshaun Shedd with running room. He's gone. Touchdown, Seahawks defense. Phillip Adams was the guy who got his hand in there and swatted it right into the waiting arms of Shedd for the score.
And there's your takeaway the hard way, right? I mean, that is just fundamental defense from your Seahawks. All 11 guys flying to the football. And how many times do we see these balls tipped? And the rest of those teammates don't give up on the play, and they're hustling and they're bustling, and a heads-up play by Shedd as well. Look how quickly he pops up. Looks like a shortstop there on the infield dirt, popping up and exploding to the end zone.
Good play by Adams, and good things happening for the Seahawks. Shedd with the pick. 55 yards later, it's a touchdown, and Seattle cutting his margin a little bit. Stephen Hauschka, after the Raiders had put up 28 unanswered, adds the 7 for the Seahawks. It's now 28-14. We talked about this defense full of backups right now, getting a chance to show what they can do. Phillip Adams getting to celebrate after being a key contributor on that one.
These don't happen by accident. When you watch the New York Giants and Eli Manning, and you see Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman tip it for an interception. When you see Malcolm Smith in San Francisco when it matters the most, the tip interception. And Deshaun Shedd, that's flying to the football. When you watch these guys practice day in and day out, you tip the ball up, that ball is yours. That's why take the ball away is plastered all over that facility. Because they know when you take it away 39 times and you're plus 20 as Seattle was a year ago, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Haven't seen a whole lot of that this preseason from the Seahawks. You see the 39 takeaways last season. That's just the third in 4 games. All interceptions, by the way.
I mean, have you seen a team with so many notable tips,
No.
interceptions?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that just a season ago.
As you said earlier, go back to the NFC Championship game.
Never, ever give up on the play.
So a little brightness for Pete Carroll and the Seahawks here after what had been a long run by the Raiders on all phases of the football. George Atkinson III, son of the legendary Raiders safety from the 1970s, back to take this kick from Stephen Hauschka. And the rookie out of Notre Dame brings it out. Spencer Ware with a tackle on special teams. Well, when he wasn't drafted, I think it was pretty easy to figure out where George Atkinson III was going to go.
Yep. Did you see Ricardo Lockett on that kickoff cover, by the way? Oh, my goodness, was he flying down the field.
Well, there's a flag way back at the original line of scrimmage from where the Seahawks kicked
Offside,
it.
number 58 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, free kick.
was going to say that may be speeding on Ricardo Lockett. You know, they've got a contest, and it's fun catching up with Brian Schneider, the special teams coach, yesterday, and they award those points for guys getting to the 20-yard line and then on touchbacks getting to the goal line. And you'll watch these guys on kickoff, and they take a ton of pride. And when he in the production meeting said, well, what do you win? You don't win anything. You win points and pride. That's what you win with Brian Schneider. Coached here in Oakland for a couple years. And on this kickoff, watch these guys busting it. There's a competition to get down there and see who can get to that 20-yard line first, and then ultimately if it's a touchback, this won't be backed up 5 more yards. Keep an eye on these guys flying down the field. As we said in the open, they don't play special teams to be even. Nothing even about it. Brian Schneider and these Seahawks play to win that phase of it and know how important it can be.
And you don't see it here tonight because this is that 4th preseason game, but it is amazing when you watch during the regular season all the starters that are on the Seahawks special teams as well.
Watch Lockett.
He's been a demon so far in coverage this preseason. There's Atkinson again. A good kick by Hauska. And a nice return from Atkinson. Just shy of the 25-yard line. No flags on that one.
No, they're going to call it again.
You see one? Ah, you're right.
Offside by the kicking team, number 83. Re-kick.
All right, so that time it was Lockett. A little too speedy. Back-to-back plays by the Seahawks kicking team.
Ricardo is gassed. Look at him. I told you he's trying to get those points. He's running the 200 meters, and he is screaming. And that time, again, they catch him for 5.
So the Seahawks will see if the 3rd time can be the charm. You see Pete doesn't look happy at all on that one. After running downfield, back-to-back plays, Lockett going to get a chance to catch his breath over on the sideline.
Yeah, earlier in the preseason, there was a good article on Ricardo Lockett, and they timed these. So not only do they award points, there's a good look at Terrence Parks. They may take Lockett's space or place, but they time these guys. And in his 40-yard split, now granted it is a running 40, right? We see him get an opportunity to get going, but he was sub-4 with his pads on in that 40-yard sprint. Just talking about the velocity with which he's coming downfield.
That's why you got to be a different cat to be a returner as well. Guys going that fast, hitting you full speed. So the kickoff will now be from the 25-yard line. Everybody staying on side this time. From the goal line, Atkinson again. And this is where special team penalties hurt you. Winds up being a big return by Atkinson.
Yeah, you see the difference when you're trying to drive that kick. You don't get the hang time. Hauska, even 10 yards back, gets it to the goal line, but a little flatter kick. And we see now a punt return, get out the gate. We see a kick return, get outside. And Brian Schneider, I promise you, will be talking to those special teams units tomorrow. That's just unacceptable in that room.
44-yard return to the 45-yard line. Jeremy Stewart right into the line of scrimmage, and the waiting arms of Greg Scruggs.
Yeah, that was a really nice play from Greg, who stayed very, very square on that play. Much better job there in the interior of that defensive line. And he's getting a lot of run here. Unfortunately, the hands to the face somewhat negated because they get the pick for a 6 in that drive, but that was a really nice job. Those big guys, when they get their hands and can stay square in the middle of that line, have an opportunity to really, like Mebane and McDaniel, do such a good job of stuffing those run lanes.
McGloin working from the shotgun. Quick pass. Battling incomplete. Andre Holmes over there with Akeem Auguste on the coverage.
It's about the 4th throw behind fade we have seen. So very clearly a short week, and a good job at the jam and getting the hands up. In a short week here, Oakland's watched enough tape of this press defense, and they had an attack mode going into this game that they were going to throw those back shoulder fades, and that time Auguste gets his head around, gets a good jam on the receiver, and puts the Raiders in now another third and extra long passing situation.
Needing the Seattle 45. McGloin going up top again. This time it's caught. Andre Holmes. Sean Shedd on the tackle, but yet another big play for the Raiders offense.
Yeah, we see a little blitz here by Seattle defensively, bringing the linebackers, and it's one-on-one with that single safety flying over. You get inside of Shedd. He just can't get back to the reception point. And the big-bodied Holmes, 6'4", 210 pounds, absorbing that contact and hanging on.
26 yards on the game, a penalty flag down at the snap of this one.
That was a pretty good shot by Jerron Johnson as well.
Illegal motion offense, number 82, was going down when the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, they've got that red line in practice, painted on the practice field for that free safety, and Earl does such an amazing job of running red line to red line, and Jerron did a good job coming off and trying to blow that route up, but just could not separate receiver from ball.
Groin up top. Bryce Butler through his hands, incomplete. But you may want to give a little bit of credit there on that play to Deshaun Shedd, who got his hand right, at least in his face, if not on the ball.
There's the technique that has become so common. You have seen Richard and Brandon and Maxwell and so many of those guys. That first step, as they backpedal, he's tracking it the entire way, and I think you're right. That fingernail is just enough to deflect that ball.
Penalty flags down before the snap.
12 men in the defensive formation. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Now this has been a sloppy night all around. No two ways about it.
You're trying to get a lot of different looks and play a lot of different people and get some of those rotations in. You're seeing Shedd, who can play a little safety in corner for you, and
someone came in, someone forgot to go out.
Yep.
Little screen play. Jeremy Stewart going to slip on the turf. Terrence Parks credited with the tackle, and that's going to be right just short of the first down marker, it appears.
And they catch Seattle, and just the right call for that screen. A couple different occasions you've seen those linebackers blitzing, and that time both linebackers come and avoiding that defense, getting the lineman out front. It's a good call by Oakland.
And he did get enough for the first down where they spotted it. So 1st and 10, ball at the 18-yard line. Stewart again, dancing around. Corey Toomer in there on the tackle. Wind our way towards the 2-minute warning of this first half. Again, the Seahawks came out, took the opening drive 80 yards, 4 plays. Russell Wilson's only offensive possession finished in a touchdown pass to Luke Wilson, and after that, Oakland rolled off 28 unanswered before the Seahawks defense scored on an interception return by Deshaun Shedd last time they were on the field. So here with 2 minutes to go in the first half, Russell Wilson and company in their final game of the preseason. Right now it's 28-14, Raiders on top.
California, the Seahawks trailing the Raiders 28-14 at the 2-minute warning. Aaron Levine alongside Mac Strong. Mac, a couple of bright spots in the first half. The starting offense looked pretty solid, and a nice touchdown by Deshaun Shedd.
Yeah, I mean, they started off great. I mean, 4 plays to score a touchdown with the starting offense, but then it was all downhill after that. So you got to remember, we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, look, there's a lot of guys fighting for positions, so those are the guys that are in there right now. But it's all about execution. They're not executing very well. Hopefully they go in halftime, regroup, come back out, play better in the second half.
We'll take a look at those guys coming up at the half and have more highlights and analysis, but back up to Kurt and Brock for now. Guys?
All right, thanks a lot. And Matt put it perfectly there. I mean, a lot of guys fighting for jobs. Some of them won't be here come week one, but it's all about execution when you get your opportunity.
Here you go. You're in the red zone. You've seen a lot of press man. I think you're going to continue to see that kind of mindset because Dan Quinn, Pete Carroll, they want to see what Deshaun Shedd and Akeem Auguste and these guys on the perimeter can do.
From the 15. McGloin underneath, almost picked off. Terrence Parks jumped that route. And I think Scott Simonson, the tight end, didn't know the ball was coming to him. He didn't get turned around.
He had no idea, and you better keep your eyes. Well, he's going to run a little wheel route, and he peeks back, and unfortunately miscommunication there, and that's an absolute no-no down there because that, as you saw, can be real close to 6 going the other way.
McGloin on third down. Pointing, directing traffic, and throwing the touchdown pass to Bryce Butler. And after the play, there's a penalty flag. 15 yards on the touchdown score. And Akeem Auguste laid a hit after the touchdown was good, and so he's going to be flagged for personal foul.
Necessary roughness defense, number 36. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced in the kickoff. Touchdown.
Well, we've watched all preseason long as Russell Wilson has extended those plays on a couple occasions today. Matt McGloin, maybe at his best when he does this, when he breaks contain, his eyes are open, you actually see him directing traffic. And that's a no-no. That's an easy call for the officials there. That's well laid on Butler. He's going to draw 15 on the kickoff.
And so the Raiders answer the Seahawks defensive touchdown with another on offense. And after the score, the bad play by Auguste compounding the problem. So the Raiders, 35 points tonight. That's more than they scored in any game during the regular season last year. So certainly a good night for the Oakland offense, a tough night for the Seahawks on defense, special teams. The offense has struggled, at least the second team. And there's another scoring drive for the Raiders.
Now you get an opportunity, if you're Terrell Pryor, to take advantage. You've not gotten nearly the opportunities you had hoped for this preseason, and you've got a couple timeouts, 2-minute warning. Seattle will have to kick off to begin the second half, so what you were really telling your battery mates over there on the sidelines is get down and get points. Got 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, get plenty of time. More than likely this is going to go through the back of the end zone. Find a way to feel good about what you can do here going into halftime.
And again, we know who's in the lineup for this game throughout most of it for the Seahawks. Any reason for concern if you're Seattle?
No, I don't think so.
Walters out of the end zone, dragged down at the 13-yard line.
Credit Oakland there, actually. That's a very heads-up play. Instead of just booting it through the end zone and putting the ball at the 25, they do the right thing, they pooch it. And now Terrell's going to be backed up. Is there any level of concern? Well, there's always going to be a level of coaching. You know that. And you're going to look at that first drive and a couple of those third down situations, 3rd and 10, where you've gotten off the field. And unfortunately, you could not get that done. And give Derek Carr a ton of credit. He made some beautiful throws on that drive. And then it's about some of that rotation and working some of your depth. Right now, your 5th and your 6th corners are being challenged in this first half.
Here's Terrell Pryor from the shotgun. Scrambling. Can't get around the corner. Going to be chased out of bounds. Minute 40 left on the clock.
Yeah, that's a little zone read run game here. Terrell feeling like he can get outside of the edge containment there from Shelby Harris. This is where Terrell's got to be a little bit careful to not try to do too much. You can't look at 35-14 and think, well, I've got to do all of these things and make all these extraordinary plays. This is still where you've got to be patient and play within the confines of the offense.
Here he is on 2nd and 9. Dumps it off. Spencer Ware. Brandy and Ross hit him in the backfield. Ware fell forward for a couple of yards, but the Raiders snipped that one out. Well, if you were concerned about the conditioning of Russell Okung, he's getting his work in tonight. He's the only starter playing the entire first half. Still out there at left tackle. Said after last week's game that he just needed reps. He's getting them tonight. Pryor flushed out of the pocket. Along the sideline, Paul Richardson makes the catch. No. Tried to keep those toes in bounds, but couldn't.
I think they've got to take a look at that.
Because it's a first down if they catch it.
That's right. He has control. Let's see if he keeps control all the way through the ground. I think he does. I think Pete. There you go.
And the ruling on the field that the pass was incomplete.
Remember, inside the 2-minute warning.
That's exactly right.
All replays come from upstairs.
Yep. A nice job there by Terrell on a 3rd down, and you saw Oakland bluffing. And earlier he went to change his protection, and they bluffed out. And that time he didn't buy it. He didn't see it. He said, "No, I can tell what you guys are going to do," and that's part of playing the position. And Pete Carroll knows it. He does a nice job of breaking, contain, eyes downfield, and gives Paul an opportunity. And I think he does. If there's any debate about putting the ball on through contact, does he get the 2 toes down?
Well, it appears from our replays that he did, but keep in mind that during the preseason, the replays are controlled by the home team. So it's Oakland television, and that's what they will look at Hockey League here in the building. And this year, officials also get help from the main office in New York. The head of officiating, Dean Blandino, will take a look and be in the ear of the referee at whatever game location he's at. So between New York and Hockey League here, they will take a look at the Oakland replays and see if that was a completed pass or not.
It's a heads-up play by Paul as well. And if you're going to be a quarterback or a wide receiver in this system, you know a couple things. You know, number one, it's going to be a run-first system, and you're not going to get 100 passes. You know, number two, you're going to have to block in the run game. And number three, you better be able to have that scramble drill. Play that second play when it breaks down. Help your quarterback out, and Paul Richardson does that really well.
Well, and part of the key for Richardson, and we mentioned he's the top pick out of Colorado, taken in the 2nd round, the highest pick the Seahawks had after the Percy Harvin trade. But he said he wanted to prove that he's more than just a speed guy, more than just a guy who flashes downfield to make big plays, and that right there would show that, getting both feet in bounds if this winds up being a completed pass.
I think one of the challenges for any rookie coming into this league is understanding the margin of error. And especially in Colorado, where he was so much more spectacular, athletically, dynamic, in so many ways from his teammates there in Boulder, that you can't really understand that until you get to this level that, man, everybody is good here. Everything is hard here.
All right, this is from the Oakland broadcast, and this is apparently their best look at the replay. Well, even from that one, to me, it looks like he made the catch, but remember, they have to see enough to overturn it. Here's the call from Hockey League.
The receiver had both toes in bounds, possessed the ball throughout the play, therefore it was a completed catch, 1st down.
Good job by the rookie. So 13 yards on the catch, and a 1st down for the Seahawks with 49 seconds left and 2 timeouts.
You can see after that first drive, the first 3rd down conversion, that first drive was so easy. 4 plays and a touchdown. And that
was a lot of Terrell Pryor and Paul Richardson there improvising to move the sticks.
3 receivers to Pryor's left. Low snap. And he's forced to scramble. Pryor got maybe back to the line of scrimmage before being forced out of bounds.
Like that was going to be another zone run there, and just unfortunately not able to handle the snap. Fortunate that you're a good enough athlete, you can get back to the line of scrimmage.
From the shotgun again. This time, Rashawn Allen, the big tight end, going to be forced out of bounds the 32-yard line. And Allen, one of those guys getting an opportunity, and tough injury to Anthony McCoy happening right at the start of training camp, tearing his Achilles, but opening the door for maybe a third tight end, whether it's Rashawn Allen or Cooper Helfand.
And then the injury to Helfand last week, and I think Allen with an expanded practice squad, so raw coming out of Southern University, and he has really grown and flashed in this preseason. Probably a really good candidate with that expanded practice squad roster.
Free play. Pryor. Underneath, caught. Yes, along the sideline. Chris Matthews with the grab.
Chris Matthews on the
Flag's going to be on the Raider defense unless they were drawn offsides.
Offside defense number 75. The penalty is declined. The play results in a first down.
Turnabout's fair play, right? We have seen this throw again and again and again from Oakland on the other side. A nice job with the cadence. Terrell knows it's a free play. You can see Nico Thorpe there, the defender for Oakland, is nowhere near aware of the route and the ball and the timing. Put on that back shoulder. A good chunk pass play.
17 yards into Raider territory. Another pass caught. Ricardo Lockett. 9 yards out of bounds, stopping the clock.
Man, did he have a good week of practice this week. And yes, you know what he can do as a gunner and as a special teamer, but from where he came in, and again, you can say that about so many of these Seahawks. It's probably why they're the youngest team to win a Super Bowl, is just that development. From the day you enter this program to now Ricardo in his 3rd year, just light years from when he came in as a receiver.
Here's Pryor. Flushed out. Has time, but can't find anybody open, and wisely just throws it out of bounds. Yeah. Give the guy who's part of the chain gang a little credit for a nice catch.
Smart. 20 seconds, you got a couple timeouts. You saw a week ago, Hauschka kick a 59-yarder. Even though you're on the infield dirt here and you're in second base, still a shot to know you're in field goal range, and that was the priority. You get that 2-minute drive, the first thing you're thinking is any level of points, find those completions, and take care of the football.
Low snap again on 3rd down. Pryor keeping it. Gets the first, gets out of bounds. 15 seconds and still those 2 timeouts.
And that's a formation you're going to see, I think, a ton this year from Seattle. It's going to be Percy Harvin, not Arcito Clark. And you're going to see this, and it's going to be really difficult for defenses to pick their poison and what they're going to do from a numbers standpoint. That time Terrell handles the low snap, but you're going to see some of that zone read. So really you have multiple options. It's going to be the inside zone, or you can overcommit, and then I can pull it out and run. If you overcommit even more numbers, and I can throw a little bubble screen to Percy Harvin. Keep that formation in mind as this season evolves for your Seahawks in those 3rd and short situations.
10th play of this drive for Seattle.
Job of protection, making sure everyone's on the same page.
But he didn't get it snapped in time. They got a timeout call from the sideline, though. Or did they? Did they get the timeout before?
Before the delay of game, timeout Seattle.
Yeah.
That's their second. It's a 30-second timeout.
So Pete Carroll and the guys on the sideline paying attention to the play clock and preventing the offense from losing yards.
14 seconds, 2 timeouts, so everything, 1 timeout. Everything in your playbook is still available and open to you here. And again, you have got points. You have got to know that playing the position. You've got Hauschka, who's been nearly automatic in his career. Avoid a sack, avoid a negative play, take care of the football, but everything here should be available in your system.
On that dirt infield, Pryor. Going down the sideline, he's got Phil Bates. Touchdown, Seahawks. Well, that's one way to answer the bell. Good drive in the 2-minute drill led by Pryor.
We saw a very similar touchdown, didn't we, from Derek Carr in that end zone. And look at Terrell Pryor. He's got two safety look, but he's not looking down that go route. All right, he's got the quarter safety there. He's got the corner looking, and much like Adams was caught peeking, looking back, what's the quarterback going to do? Terrell did an excellent job with his eyes, keeping him down the middle of the field. And much like Derek Carr hit that touchdown, Pryor does the same going into halftime. That's an excellent 2-minute drill from the backup Seattle Seahawks.
And a good catch for Phil Bates, who's in that battle at wide receiver, 33 yards on the score.
Yeah, and again, just watch the eyes. He knows where he wants to go. He knows he's got a matchup out there with Phil Bates that he likes. And he gets that ball just over Nico Thorpe. But for young quarterbacks, it's your eyes. You saw Derek Carr do such a good job of it in his quarter of play. Time Terrell Pryor does as well, never giving Nico Thorpe the thought that he was going to take that shot, and that's cool right there. And that Pete Carroll, Philip Bates, when you talk about Ricardo Lockett and where he came in, what was this guy? He came in as a quarterback. And we saw him last year try to add some weight and play that H-back, kind of fullback, H-back hybrid position, and then he made a real commitment and said, no, if I'm going to make it in this league, I'm going to play outside. And he's had a really good preseason as well.
You can see how happy the guys are for him as well, knowing the work that he put in. And if I told you at the start of the day, there'd be 56 points scored in the first half of this game. Even though we see a lot of backups, I don't know if we would have expected this. Hauschka scoots that one down the middle of the field. And there's TJ Carey. Going to get it, and fall down with 4 seconds left.
That's a cool moment. You'll hear people say, oh, the preseason and fourth preseason game. I don't care, man. When you've worked as hard as so many of these guys have worked to just put themselves in position for these opportunities, whether it's a rookie like Derek Carr, whether it's a third-year player like Phil Bates, to get out there and really shine feels good.
Always seemed just about a little bit of everything there in that first half. A half that comes to a close with the Raiders leading at 35-21. Mac and Aaron come back with a halftime from Oakland right after this. As you know, Brodka, the Seahawks will be on defense here to start the second half, but I want to go back to the end of the first half and the way we talk so much about not necessarily the score, the way Terrell Pryor handled things in that final drive.
Yeah, you'll hear Lou Holtz all through college football season say it's always about how you come into halftime and how you come out of halftime, and all coaches love that. And the fact, with 2 minutes to go, 2 timeouts, and it was the heady decisions. It was throwing the ball away. It was handling a bad snap. What did we see from Cutler last week? Yeah. He takes a snap and he freaks out, right? Yeah. He throws the interception. Yeah, it's that overall command from Terrell. That was as good a drive as we've seen from him all preseason.
And it ended in a touchdown pass. That was a beautiful pass to Phil Bates. So we expect to see Pryor running out with the Seahawks offense when they get the ball, but right now they're going to kick things off. Oakland will get it to start the second half after deferring on the opening kickoff.
Okay, who's your money on to the 20-yard line?
Let's go with, I'm going to take Brian Walters, number 19. You?
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess.
Well, you can't take my guy.
Okay, how about I'll take Arcito Clark at the top. Go.
Okay, here we go. George Atkinson brings it out. Walters was the first guy to the 20, and Atkinson gets stopped before he gets to the 20. Akeem Auguste, and there's another penalty flag.
Foul, unnecessary roughness on the receiving team, number 44. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
That's called on Spencer Ware. A little action after the play was over.
Well, and you heard Max say, coming right out of halftime to clean up some of these penalties. Just going to call him for coming in a little bit late there, unfortunately.
So after the 15 yards added on due to the penalty, Raiders began at the 38-yard line. Matt McGloin still in at quarterback. Oh, big hit. Jeremy Stewart nowhere to run. DeAnthony Smith, the big man, met him in the backfield.
Yeah, I have a hunch that Dan Quinn in the booth next to us, remember, defensive coordinator, he also loves working with those defensive linemen. That's his background. I have a feeling that he had a conversation with Mayowa and DeAnthony and Pulu and the rest of these guys and said, hey, listen, you've got 30 more minutes here to prove to us exactly where you are on this roster, to prove to the rest of the league that's going to release 1,200 some players over the next 48 hours. Take advantage of this opportunity of playing time for the next 30 minutes. DeAnthony did coming out.
Here's McGloin to Stewart out of the backfield. Jeremy Stewart caught by Deshaun Shedd. Stewart going to fall out across the 45-yard line. Shedd, of course, scored that touchdown in the first half after the interception. Getting a little run here, a lot more playing time. You talked about the injuries in the secondary and guys that didn't make the trip like Jeremy Lane, and the starters not playing a whole lot tonight, showing what he can do.
Pass situation here, good opportunity. You see Mike Morgan on the bottom of your screen here. Good opportunity to get a good rush.
On third down, over the middle, Greg Little gets away from Jerron Johnson, but going to wind up losing yards on the play. Everybody else looked like in white was there. That was good pursuit by the Seahawks defense.
Yeah, and Pete likes it. The booth next to us likes it. That is that pursuit, not only for tips and interceptions. You'll see here with Little, good little route. He may have this if he falls forward, but instead, once he regains momentum there and starts making football moves, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Seahawks gang tackling. Love to see that effort flying around.
Marquette King on for the second time tonight to punt. Brian Walters makes the fair catch at the 25-yard line. So the Seahawks defense comes out with a little more urgency, gets the job done to start the second half, and we'll see what the offense can do, led by Terrell Pryor, when we come back. A Seahawk fan certainly happy the way 2013 culminated in the Super Bowl championship. And the 2014 regular season begins next week with a full week's worth of events, culminating on the Thursday night game. On the 4th, Soundgarden and Pharrell Williams will open up for the Packers and the Seahawks. For more information, visit Seahawks.com/kickoff. Free hugs. Everybody needs that every now and then, right? First possession of the second half after the defense forces a 3-and-out for the Seahawks offense. And Spencer Ware fighting his way for a gain of 1.
And the mentality's really got to be the same here as it was on that 2-minute drive. You're not going to get it all back at once. Continue to be very patient. You got plenty of time here. The defense comes out and gets you a 3-and-out. Good field position. The nice thing for Pryor is he's going to have a lot of good receivers here in the second half between Richardson and Bates and Walters. Very capable receivers to throw to.
And Ware gets a big carry. Penalty flag on the play as he gets out across the 40-yard line.
You know what that means.
That's coming back.
Holding, offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Lemuel John Pierre. And he's had an up-and-down night, a couple of low snaps, and now a penalty here for holding.
Saw earlier with Luke Wilson, the hands get outside the frame, and once you start grabbing that jersey and they see that jersey tug, that's going to be an automatic holding, 10-yard penalty. Now the 9th penalty already, 2 here in the second half, the personal foul. That negates a really good run
Here's Ware again, slipping as he tried to cut back. Flags again. It's going to be one of those kind of second halves, huh?
No, let's hope not.
Third penalty in the first 3.5 minutes of the half.
Illegal use of the hands defense, number 75. 5-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run, an automatic first down.
That's on the defensive end, Shelby Harris of the Raiders. So it gets tacked on, and first down. 3 yards on the run, 5 yards on the penalty, and an automatic first down at the 25. Off the play fake. Dropped by Richardson. Good job of continuing to look downfield, though, by Terrell Pryor and finding Richardson, who just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, that ball had some steam on it, didn't it? And that's one of the aspects when you want to talk about a fit within this system and all the zone run blocking and the play action and the attributes that Russell has coming off of that zone run and keeping the play alive, as you said, eyes down the field. That one just too much steam for Paul to handle.
Here's the handoff. Taken by Demetrius Bronson, and he gets hit big time right at the 40-yard line. And it's been one of those weeks for Bronson. He was one of the initial cuts when the Seahawks reduced the roster down to 75, but because of the injury to Christian Michael, re-signed and now playing.
What a great job there by Alvin Bailey. You see him do the opposite. You see what he did? He got his hands inside there at left tackle. Gives Bronson the opportunity to lower the pads, deliver the blow. He flashed in that first game in Denver. Pete Carroll liked the way that Bronson got his pads down, really physical runner. So likes Alvin Bailey with a really good block to set it up.
From the 40, Bronson again. Falls forward, good 5-yard gain on the play.
And Bailey again as well. Bailey may have the cleanest jersey to start the second half here. He was watching Russell Okung get his cardio and get his work in and play every snap of that first half. That's another good competition there at that tackle spot. Who's going to be the third tackle? Is Bailey going to be a guy, you know, that the Seahawks, Tom Cable, very comfortable. He played some tight end last year in their big heavy package. He can play guard. He can play tackle.
We've also got the veteran Eric Winston, who's playing right tackle right now, who's played on both sides as a professional. Bronson again. The former Kentwood High School star picks up a couple of yards. Well, it looks like he's going to get a lot of run in the second half and making the most of his second opportunity with the Seahawks.
You just never know in this league, do you? You just don't know how fast things can change and fortunes can change and opportunities. And I'm sure that phone call was brutal to get over the weekend and know you got released. And then Michael tweaks that hammy. He comes back and gets a chance to get some action here tonight and a chance to flash and shine.
Seahawks looking for the 50. Ball incomplete. Phil Bates, the intended receiver. Keith McGill right there with him, step for step.
Keith McGill is a Seahawk-looking kind of corner, big fourth-rounder out of Utah. He's 6'3", and that technique, that's a good job. I mean, that is almost identical kind of game tape to Byron Maxwell and Richard Sherman, the big physical corner. Unfortunately, there, Terrell Bates unable to hook up on the slant.
And so John Ryan gets a little more work, fifth punt of the night. TJ Carey back deep. And right there with him, Phillip Adams, former Oakland Raider, showing up on special teams as he tries to make the Seahawks. Good coverage, 39 yards on the punt, a loss of 1 on the return as Adams showing up. Has had the ball once here in the second half. Each team has punted. And so Matt McGloin and the Raiders take over at the 14-yard line, leading at 35-21. Underneath, Jeremy Stewart on the backfield, wrapped up immediately. Mike Morgan lost his helmet in the process, but made the tackle, and there's a penalty flag down. It's another one of those good young linebackers that's had a very good training camp when you listen to the coaches.
Very versatile would be the word I would use to describe
Illegal
many of
hands
these
to the
defenders.
face, offense number 73. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
Well, we've seen that call, 3-4 times tonight. That's one of those points of emphasis, and seems as though the officials have gotten off illegal contact and onto the hands in the face this week.
And that's Matt McCants, the big offensive tackle for Oakland. But when you look at Mike Morgan, we saw him earlier. He's playing a little bit of that Leo, that little rush in on a third down passing situation. He can play really all the linebacker spots and positions. A really good special teamer. And again, another one of these guys that's going to come into these conversations over the next 48 hours of just where he fits on this roster.
Backs the Raiders up to the 6. Here's Jeremy Stewart. And Stewart going to fight his way out to the 14-yard line. Gain of 8 on the play. Corey Toomer in there on the tackle.
Seeing a little bit of a commitment, I think, from both offensive coordinators here after all the fireworks in the first half. 56 points, 460 yards of combined offense. A little bit more of a commitment to running the football and keeping this thing going as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, both these teams realizing this final preseason game, they've made most of their evaluations, one would assume. We often talk about how guys are fighting for jobs, and they truly are, but it's not one game that's going to make you make the roster or not. It's a whole offseason and training camp of work as well that goes into the evaluation. And that pass broken up. Akeem Augusti breaks up the pass intended for Andre Holmes, and we've seen the good and bad of this young man tonight. That was a good one.
Yeah, and that's typically what happens with young players, right? You see the little slam route and the quickness, a little bit late there from McGloin, low and late. Gives Augusti a chance to come up and break it up. But you're right, it's accumulation, right? It's not just this one game that you see, and we had a good conversation at halftime there with some of the Oakland Raider people and radio people just about Derek Carr and what you see tonight in that first quarter. That's just a small slice of the entire evaluation process over the last month and a half.
McGloin pressured, sacked. Jordan Hill catches him inside the 1-yard line.
That's an excellent four-man rush, and you see the spin move inside Jordan Hill. Greg Scruggs, tremendous effort as well. Boy, that's exactly what these Seahawks coaches were looking for with some of these young guys. They like the skill set of Jordan Hill, and they like the versatility of Scruggs. You just want to see those guys get out there and play fast and cut it loose and make plays just like that one.
Hill, of course, only played 4 games his rookie season last year with that bicep injury. Taking advantage of the little playing time here late in this preseason finale. And Brian Walters gets hit immediately after catching that one. Nowhere to run. Chance Casey wrapped him up. 39 on the punt by Marquette King. 0 on the return by Brian Walters. You said it many times this preseason. You got to be a little bit different to be a returner. And right now, the Seahawks looking for difference makers for the second half of this lap. Hey, Robert Turbin may look like a lonely guy on the sideline, but don't worry about him. He's got that Microsoft tablet that they're using on the sidelines in NFL stadiums this year to keep him occupied. All they can look at on there, though, are photos that used to be printed out on the page, but modern technology catching up, or the NFL catching up with modern technology. So you see some of the pictures. That's what it looks like.
What a little shot here. How about a little play action pass? Excellent field position.
From the 40 of Oakland. Underneath. Wasn't a pretty pass, but it's caught. Paul Richardson. Gain of 5 on the play.
That's one nice thing when you get into these preseason games and when you've got a roster that has the strength of this Seahawk roster, especially a couple of these position groups, running back and wide receiver, even offensive line now, as you've got some veterans still out there. It gives you as a quarterback an opportunity to really do some things.
Number 73, 5-yard penalty, it's second down.
And that's on the veteran we talked about earlier, the right tackle, Eric Winston. There's a look at Kevin Pierre-Louis. You don't like to see that. They say he won't return with a hamstring. Got it icing down right now. But he's got a smile on his face, so hopefully it's just a minor tweak. A lot of penalties tonight for the Seahawks. Pryor can't find a receiver. Forced to run it. Picked the right spot to slide on the infield. You think he knows the good spots in the stadium?
Yeah, he's done that. He led all quarterbacks a season ago in rushing yards, and a 90-yarder here a season ago, and he can do this.
Right about where the shortstop normally plays. Third down. And that's Demetrius Bronson fighting. But it'll be stopped about 2-3 yards short of the first down.
I like this, a little go zone here.
Seahawks going to go for it on fourth down. 4th and 3. Needing the 30-yard line exactly. Pryor. Yep. Yeah. Looked like Bailey may have moved early on that one, the left tackle.
Penalty, it's still fourth down.
He did, and that changes things. You go from 4th and 3 to now 4th and 8. Seahawks still going to go for it. A lot of options taken off the table now, though. Needing long yards here.
Yeah, 4th and 3 is an enviable position to be in. Typically in those 3rd and 3 or 4th and 3, you get so much man coverage. Now you got to fight that tendency to force the issue. You get to this down and distance, and you get concerned about those checkdowns and their ability to get the yardage. Crucial play, crucial time.
Pryor up top, looking for Arcedo Clark. There's a flag on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, I think he went hard count there. There's a certain 4th down play around that same area of the field in that NFC Championship game as well, where you saw a hard count followed by a seam throw like that just on the other side for a touchdown to curse the hard count.
Offside defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat fourth down.
Gave Pryor an opportunity to take that shot.
And now they get those 5 yards back, so 4th and 3 again after the offside on the Raider defense.
That's a good job.
Pryor has done some really good things as far as managing the offense tonight. Hard count there. We've seen him
just
run that 2-minute
just handling the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Just handling not just the play and not just the call, but really trying to understand that moment in the game and exactly what's required of that situation. Situational quarterbacking, situational play is so critical.
Seahawks go with the empty backfield on 4th and 3. Quick pass, out of the reach from Brian Walters.
Just trust your technique there, big fella. That's unfortunate. The right call, the right opportunity. Walters runs a good route there, and you just watch the technique break down, unfortunately. And Dennis Allen likes it as the Raiders get the ball back.
Here in Oakland, a shot from downtown looks like Superman or Batman should be in it. Doesn't that look like one of those old school shots?
Gothic City.
Yeah, it does. 56 points in the first half. Nothing so far here in the third quarter as Matt McGloin and the Raiders taking over at the 33. George Atkinson the third with a run. Brock Coyle in there on the tackle.
You know, you've heard Russell Wilson talk all preseason about his fundamentals. This is a 4th down play, and just watch the fundamentals here for Pryor. Russell says, I just got to do everything right all the time on my fundamentals. Just set your feet, just set your feet. And he does have a free runner coming at him, to be fair to Terrell. He slides out of the way with the free runner, but just a situation there to nail it, to make that conversion to Brian Walters. And unfortunately, just misfires.
Sometimes trying to be too perfect. Here's Atkinson, gets through a hole. Chased down from behind by Mike Morgan, but only after he takes it into Seahawk territory. Down to the 46-yard line, and a nice run from Atkinson of 25 yards.
Just the inability inside to get off of some of those blocks. And the Golden Domer, Atkinson, showing you, boy, he's a big fella that can get down the field. Oakland likes their receivers. Sounds a little bit like the Chicago Bears from last week. It looks like Atkinson is a little bit hobbled, right? We talked about the Bears and their people on the perimeter and just the size of a Marshall and a Jeffrey. And you look at Oakland, and we saw the big back earlier. Latavius Murray, 6'3", 230. You see Atkinson there. He's 6'1", 220, big physical backs. And trying to work off an injury, it looks like.
Jeremy Stewart now in at running back, gets the carry. Plows right to the line of scrimmage, falls forward for about a yard and a half on first down. Give him 2. Benson Mayoa getting a lot of playing time here, and we saw him flash a couple of times in the first half. From the 35. Under pressure, McGloin got rid of it. Pass caught by Andre Holmes.
Yeah, that was Brock
Stephen
Coyle.
Terrell right there to make the tackle.
That was Brock Coyle, it looked like, shooting in here. We've seen this Sam Mike blitz. That's the strong side linebacker and the middle linebacker. And one of the points of emphasis for Coach Carroll for Brock was to finish, to really tackle with some authority there. And he does a nice job of driving McGloin into the hard dirt.
Undrafted kid out of Montana who has gotten the start 3 of the 4 weeks due to the injury to Bobby Wagner and taking advantage of it. That pass falls incomplete to Holmes. He drops it. It would have been good enough for a first down.
Nice play there by Terrence Parks.
So the Raiders are going to try a long field goal off that dirt infield. Giorgio Tavecchio from 48 yards out. Well, he was assigned on Tuesday, and with Sebastian Janikowski here, I don't think he's going to be here past Saturday, but he can always tell his family he kicked a 48-yarder in a Raider uniform. Extends the lead to 17 with 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Well, if I can get Brock Huron to stop dancing up here, there's 16 minutes and 53 seconds left in the preseason. I saw you moving to rap music earlier. Now you got rock and roll. A little bit of everything, man.
Coming down the home stretch of the preseason, man.
You know, one thing, you talk to guys that have been in NFL locker rooms, you get exposed to a lot of different types of music.
Yes, you do. And you get exposed to a lot of different kind of guys, too, from all over. Lots of different situations. And for some, they're looking at the final 16 minutes of their football careers. Quite possibly.
Brian Walters hoping this isn't the final 16 of his in a Seahawk uniform. Another good kick return by Walters as he breaks it outside, gets around the 30-yard line. Walters, the all-time leading return guy in the history of the Ivy League, showing why. Never played his college ball at Cornell.
You waited till 16 minutes left in preseason to drop that nugget, huh?
Well, he didn't play last week.
Speaking of different characters, guys that march to their own beat.
Did you see him in pregame? I know he's back here in Oakland where his family and friends are. We met his aunt when we were coming in with stadium security. But during pregame, he has fun. Let's just say it that way. Terrell Pryor still in at quarterback. Bronson. And Demetrius Bronson spins forward, picks up a couple. It'll be interesting to see how much longer we see Terrell Pryor. He may play the rest of the game, but the Seahawks have also said they want to see B.J. Daniels, the fourth quarterback, to give him at least some legitimate run. He really hasn't had a chance to play much during the preseason.
And you can see him pretty authoritative there, talking just about some of that timing and that tempo and that command. I like it. Get in and out of that huddle.
Off the play fake. Out of the backfield, Kiero Small. And Small, the big fullback. 5'8", 247 pounds of him. 7th round pick out of Arkansas.
You know what the play that might have been, too? I think that was a little Spider 2Y banana, by the way.
You know, I think that's what everybody at home was just saying.
Yep.
That looked like Spider 2Y banana.
I've seen that play before.
Yeah. Third down.
Set your feet.
Here comes the pressure. Up top for Brian Walters. Diving. He caught it. Great throw. Sweet catch.
Beautiful on both ends, and you see there the pressure from Oakland. They brought it on 4th down, and watch the difference here with Terrell Pryor. Watch him stare down that pressure, and what does he do? He plants that foot in the ground, he throws it, and you can't throw it any better than that. That's well done.
33-yard pass play to Brian Walters to end the third quarter. So the Seahawks will go into the final quarter of the preseason. Terrell Pryor trying to lead a comeback or at least keep this thing going. Seahawks and Raiders in the final period of the preseason. 38-21. Raiders on top of the Seahawks. We talked about Marshawn Lynch during the pregame. I think beast mode is in his regular season mode, which is a little different than everybody else. Doing his Hannibal Lecter impression, I guess.
Are you familiar with that?
No, but I think we all will be very shortly.
I think that's called the training mask, and I don't think I've ever seen it.
He's different. Like Pemco Insurance, a little different. Oh boy, here. From the 29-yard line after the beautiful pass from Terrell Pryor to Brian Walters on the final play of the third quarter. First down, Seahawks. Pryor looking left. And he's got Chris Matthews. Matthews will pick up 8 yards. Guy who hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity during the preseason, but one thing about him, he's big.
I mean, the one thing you do have to consider here over the next few days is that expanded practice squad. They're going to get from 8 back up to 10. And we talked about it last week. I don't think there is any downside to that whatsoever. You know, the NFL Europe is not around. Yes, the CFL goes on, but it's kind of a competing time and interest. The Arena League is such a different game than this game. To give guys like Chris Matthews an opportunity that are right there on the cusp.
Here's Demetrius Bronson. And Bronson had to fight just to get back to the line of scrimmage, if that. He's another guy who might be looking at opportunities on that 10-man practice squad. Remember, they have to reduce the roster by 1 o'clock Pacific time on Saturday. Every team in the National Football League has to get down to 53, and then you can re-sign guys after you cut them to the practice squad. Spencer Ware in at tailback, dancing, and getting down inside the 10. Good run by Ware.
And we've seen a couple different occasions where Oakland is throwing that little screen pass into the Seahawk blitz there with their linebackers, and that time Oakland's going to bring the blitz away from that run call. Just a really good call against the blitz coming from the backside, and there you see some of the niftiness of Spencer Ware. Good blocking back, but showing you capable in the open field of making some plays.
Well, they spotted this ball at the 11-yard line. Here's Ware. Going to gain about 5 yards. And believe it or not, here we are in the fourth quarter, and this is the first time all night the Seahawks have been in the red zone.
been pretty good this preseason. You get around that 60 to 70% for scoring touchdowns down there in the red zone. That'll be one of the emphasis this year. With the Percy Harvin, with that expanded group of weapons that you have, finding more touchdowns down in the red zone can be an area of growth from the season ago.
Where again, caught in the backfield. Had no chance from that one at the very beginning. C.J. Wilson right there.
Well, you see in this unblocking, when you get that penetration, no matter what run call, you get early penetration, you're going to be doomed. But I kind of like it. I kind of like now a third down situation, giving you a little bit of space. Here, I'd like to see Pryor once again, when he can set his feet and throw with some authority. You have seen him be very successful.
Seahawks can get a first down at the 1 yard line. Pryor flushed out again. Looking downfield. Well, that didn't help.
And you can see a little bit of the frustration there. And I'll tell you what was probably going through his head as he's running to the left. It was a 50-50 chance of whether he was going to fire it back across his body. And you remember down in the red zone in Denver, right, that bang-bang play unfortunately got tipped up an interception. He's had a couple of those interceptions here in the preseason. It makes a decision, that instant split-second decision you got to make as a quarterback to eat it, still get you 3 points.
Stephen Hauschka with a 27-yard field goal. And here in the second half, the Seahawks have answered the field goal that was put up by the Raiders. And it's again a 14-point game. Raiders up by 14 here, 11:22 left to go in the preseason. Brock not only dancing but playing air guitar now. it's that time of the preseason.
Stop giving away my secrets.
I'm just impressed with your rhythm.
The eye in the sky doesn't lie, but there's no eye in this booth, okay? So stop it.
Just having a little fun. So Hauschka with a field goal. A little bit shorter than that one he had to end the half last week. So the Raiders will get a chance to bring it out of the end zone. George Atkinson to third again. And a flag again. Carroll Small there to light him up.
Offside by the kicking team, number 95. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Is that the third time we've seen that on the Seahawks kicking game tonight? I don't think we should read lips with Pete on that one.
I don't think Pete likes that call.
I don't think he's going to like 12 penalties and nearly 100 yards in penalties for the Seahawks this evening, no matter who's in the ball game.
Benson and these guys are saying, I got to go tee this up and do it again.
Well, you want as many reps as you can get, but probably not back-to-back on kickoff coverage. So backed up to the 30-yard line, and all those speed demons that the Seahawks have on special teams. Looks like they were all behind the line of scrimmage that time. Short kick, Atkinson. Big hit. Atkinson thought he was going somewhere, got airborne, and Carroll Small laid him out.
Yeah, 5'9", 250, and this guy likes to hit. I don't think he's going to win to the 25, but he's going to win and finish.
Seahawks defensive line coach Travis Jones looking for a little something from these guys, and they talk about finish the preseason finish this game, especially young guys who are all in there right now for the most part. Drive starts at the 27. Jeremy Stewart runs right through that defensive line. Tripped up by Akeem Auguste, but only after he picked up the first down. So there you see the list of guys that are playing on the defensive line now.
That's a pretty big group, and I think, you know, Benson Mayowa, O'Brien Schofield, and pretty good little battle there. Like Peyton Manning always used to remind guys when I was back in Indianapolis, he said, you're not just competing with this room, you're also going to be competing with the 1,200 guys released around the NFL over the next 48 hours, but that's a pretty deep group.
McCloying going deep. No flag on the play. Pass intended for Greg Little. Akeem Auguste was there with them, and they're calling it incidental contact.
10 minutes and up 14, you're still taking your shots. There's quite a bit of contact there.
Goin wanted a flag.
I think the referees are saying, why don't we try to run the ball, boys?
Yeah. Here's McGloin. This time hooks up with Little. Just across the first down marker and into Seahawk territory.
Kurt, is it just me, or are these receivers around the league just getting bigger and bigger?
Yeah. No question about it.
There's a little bit of a push off as well. Remember, that point of emphasis this preseason has not just been the illegal contact on the receivers. They have tried to say that little push, that offensive pass interference, also going to be called, but these guys tend to get away with it a little bit more than the defenders can.
From the Seattle 49, Atkinson runs into the pile. Ball came out. Now let's see if the Seahawks can recover this. There's a whole bunch of Seahawks there on the tackle, but Oakland does recover.
I think it was Dan Kistler, the big Montana boy. How about that right now? You got two Grizz out there. Kistler 65, 6'7", 315. Brock Coyle, who's been so much of the conversation for the Seahawks, right on the other side as well.
Coyle in there, middle linebacker now. Jeremy Stewart. And Stewart does not get far. Jordan Hill coming from that defensive tackle spot.
Saw a spin move earlier on his first sack of the preseason. He's got a little bit of that quickness inside, and if he's going to find a role, he's a little bit more of your nickel pass rusher. Continuing to be strong at the point against that run, that's going to be a continued area of growth for him, but it's these situations, these 3rd and 5, you saw an excellent spin move earlier. Keep an eye on him here in a pass situation. These are the kind of rushers that he's being thoroughly evaluated on to see if he can take some of those plays that a Clinton McDonald had, just like this in situations a year ago.
And he comes with the pressure, flushing McGloin out. O'Brien Schofield giving chase as well, and McGloin forced to throw the incompletion. Good pursuit by that front four.
That's exactly what you're looking for. And O.B. Schofield has done this all preseason long. But a nice job. You see the hands once again of the big fella. It's not always those sacks, but it's moving those quarterbacks. It's taking them and disrupting the timing. Schofield has the speed, but a very good initial inside rush there from Jordan Hill as well.
He may have had as good a preseason as anybody as O'Brien Schofield.
Yeah, he was hungry, huh? Sitting in that meeting last night, and you just talk about that road that he's been on over the last year or so, and 2 young children now, and just the difference between coming into this league, you're going to be here a while, and then a quick understanding of, man, this is a grown man's league. I got to make a living and provide for my family. And he sure had an understanding and been bringing it this preseason.
A guy they weren't sure would be here when he signed with the Giants. It's all worked out in the Seahawks' favor, and he has certainly taken advantage this preseason. 38-24. Raiders on top. Closing minutes of the preseason, and it's like a baseball game. fourth quarterback now in. B.J. Daniels getting an opportunity to show what he can do. He's a kid who was impressed as a fourth quarterback during training camp. On the keeper. Showing a little speed here as well. Getting around the end. And Daniels with a big run on his first snap of the night. 28 yards on that one.
Oh, you remember the San Diego game, 4 rushing touchdowns out of your quarterbacks, Russell, Pryor, and B.J. Daniels all getting involved, and this is one aspect of this offense, that zone read. He decides to pull it. Not textbook, not how they draw it up, and once again playing to his strength.
His second year out of South Florida. Was with the 49ers for a bit last year, signed off the practice squad by the Seahawks as he hands this one off to Demetrius Bronson. And Bronson out across the 40.
And by the way, I've got an answer. It came. I've got an answer to the training mask that Marshawn was wearing.
You do?
Oh,
Okay.
I do. Yes, I've got a friend back in Seattle, 710 ESPN, Bob Stelton on the radio, and he's a fighter and an MMA and does a lot of that fighting, and a lot of those fighters will wear that mask because it's like training at high altitude. So it's actually a training tool that helps those guys train, and a lot of those MMA fighters will wear those.
So you're not just a dancer, huh?
No.
Here's Daniels, sidearms it, and gets it out to Bronson. And Demetrius Bronson, who has really fought for yards after the catch or initial contact, getting close to the first down here. And there's another look at that training mask.
And if you were to guess any Seahawk that wear a training mask and simulate high altitude before a game in the Bay Area, you'd probably pick Marshawn, right?
Yeah, I think so. I may not have guessed 62 points, but I would have guessed that before the game.
I will tell you this, that the shape that he's come in and the peak condition, and John Schneider and Pete, many of them just shaking their head at no participation, no OTAs, no conditioning, no mini camps, and they can't tell. A lot of conversation about a 28-year-old back and how many more carries does he have in him. And he just continues to surprise you at every single turn. And I know they love Kristen Michael and Robert Turbin's a pro, but don't kid yourself. This is still that guy's team and run game, and so much of the DNA and heartbeat of the physical nature of who they are.
Daniels going deep, underthrew it. Paul Richardson had a step or two on his man. That was Keith McGill, the other rookie, on the coverage. But that ball didn't quite get there.
You know, we've seen this a couple times with Richardson this year, and you're just going to have to learn. You've got to get that ball up earlier. Joey Galloway was a guy that could absolutely fly, and I remember my first mini camp with him, realizing that 5 hitch and throw was 5. You better get that ball up and out, because some guys' speed is just a little bit different. You throw that go route, you want to give a speedster like Richardson every opportunity to run it down.
Blitz coming. Picked up. Kiero Small out of the backfield. And Small fights his way down inside the 35-yard line to move the chains with a gain of 15.
5'9", 247 on the stat sheet, and you just know that he seeks collisions, don't you? He catches the ball. Good job here, little play-action pass. Got a receiver that open, a running back, just make sure you give him a good catchable pass, and then let Kiero just find contact somewhere.
You like a guy with that body type playing football, don't you?
Yep.
This is fun to watch. That one zipped in there. Pass caught by the tight end, Morrell Presley. Nice pass from B.J. Daniels.
You've seen this with all the Seahawks quarterbacks. Yes, you've seen some zone read, but Russell, Tavares, they all like that vertical passing game. Percy Harvin's favorite play is just that stretch, that vertical, he calls it in this scheme. It's called dancer, and you're going to see a lot of that vertical passing game out of the starters. We've certainly seen a bunch of it this preseason.
First down from the 12. Daniels tries to zip that one. Everybody covered, but there is a penalty flag on the play down inside the 5.
He likes to sling it, doesn't he?
He does.
Illegal contact, defense number 44. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Called on Carlos Fields, and we haven't seen one of those calls in a while. After they seemingly were all over the place the first couple of weeks of the preseason. Automatic first down. Ball's at the 7. First and goal. Quick pass. Brian Walters. They get it in his hands, and he makes it pay. Touchdown, Seahawks.
And he is just nifty, isn't he? And you have seen that on punt return and kick return. There's just some of those players that have almost an innate feel in space of where people are. And an excellent job of BJ here of getting the ball out. And then that's just 2 broken tackles. Boom, boom.
5th year in the league, 3rd year with the Seahawks. Started his career with the Green Bay Packers, but grew up in Kirkland, went to Juanita High School, and now getting a chance to play for the hometown team and bring them a little bit closer. 4.5 minutes left. It's suddenly a touchdown game. So Brian Walters has contributed on special teams tonight and now gets the touchdown and has the free throw afterwards. Well, unlike these folks, if you can't find your favorite player's jersey or need a custom 12 jersey, just stop by any of the 3 Seahawks Pro Shop locations. Downtown at 4th and Pike, in Renton at the Landing, or the flagship store at CenturyLink Field. And you can pick up anything you need from the largest selection out there. For store hours, visit Seahawks.com/Pro Shop.
Yeah, a lot of Seahawk fans on the flight with me this morning. And how about even the flight attendants getting the Seahawk chant going on the short little flight from Seattle to Oakland. And I think Russell Wilson's ready for Thursday night.
A little onside kick by the Seahawks. And the Raiders were ready for that one. They didn't get fooled at all on that one as it was finally recovered. Seth Roberts got it. So the Raiders will start with good field position, but you see so much this time of year. The Seahawks hadn't worked on that in a game at all this preseason. Maybe that, just trying to do that now that they've gotten the game within 7 to see how it works. So the ball starts in Seahawk territory. Atkinson going to be wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Falls forward for a couple. Go ahead.
One thing to consider, we've talked a lot about that 1 o'clock deadline that's going to be fast approaching. And remember, many of these teams around the league will have a 10-day window, right? They're going to play on that following Sunday. Not Pete Carroll, not Green Bay. Both Seattle and the Packers are going to have to get right on it, get back home and figure out, not only start to game plan, and I'm sure some of that had already started this week. They'll be off tomorrow, start making a lot of those decisions, and then come Saturday, you get right back to work because that Thursday is going to jump up and be here, kick off to the NFL season before we know it.
We can't wait. Here's McGloin. That's Carl Williams out of the backfield. Corey Toomer hog-tied him, but there's a flag down on the play.
Yeah, you think there's going to be a little electricity in Seattle next Thursday?
Yeah.
Pass interference, offense number 18 was blocking downfield. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Andre Holmes called for blocking downfield. I'm trying to remember. Last time the Packers were in Seattle, anything happened in that game?
Ooh, Golden made a great catch on a Hail Mary. I know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Was that game?
Yeah.
Huh.
A lot of people thought that was an interception. But upon further review, that was a touchdown, and that was the last time with those replacement officials as well.
It was the play that ended the lockout. The handoff taken by Atkinson. Andrew Pulu. Another one of those big defensive tackles right there at the line of scrimmage, not letting him get anywhere. The free agent rookie out of Eastern Washington. Another kid who grew up in the area, Federal Way.
And then just in case you were wondering, with 3 minutes and 28 seconds, whether or not Pete was going to play this thing to win and use his timeouts, that's a no-brainer.
If the Seahawks score, you think they're going to go for 2?
I would hope so.
Yeah, you would find it hard to believe you won overtime in any preseason game, but certainly not the final. Well, we talked about Andrew Pellew, and we've mentioned Brock Coyle so much this preseason. It just seems as though every year, last year, Benson Mayoa, that these guys, the scouting department for the Seahawks, find those guys who haven't been drafted who wind up being contributors right away. Atkinson through a hole. First down, Raiders. Phillip Adams finally wrapped him up. What another big game for this kid.
Man,
20 yards on the run.
This kid has run hard, hasn't he? You've seen that on a kickoff return, and what an enormous run. But yeah, exactly what you're talking about right there. And not just making the team, difference makers. Doug already signed to a new deal. Jermaine well on his way. Eric Coleman's going to be your starting fullback. Lockett's one of your most valuable special teamers, and finding value, especially when you've got to pay an Earl Thomas and a Richard Sherman and a Marshawn Lynch and a Russell Wilson next year. You have got to find value in some of that cheap labor that can come through the draft's later rounds and the undrafted free agents.
There's 2 guys right there. Brock Coyle got the tackle, but Greg Scruggs was the first guy to slow him down. Seahawks use another timeout.
I mean, in this stadium where they play baseball, it's what Billy Beane has done for a long, long time. He doesn't have the budget, he doesn't have the resources, so he finds value in different and unique ways. That's exactly what Pete's done, and it's pretty remarkable. How many guys did you say Oakland were sitting tonight? 18?
There's 19 guys.
19 guys, and so many of those veteran players. And I promise you, if you were looking at the list and you did not know who won the Super Bowl last year, you would think, looking at that list, the veteran team here is not Seattle. The veteran team is Oakland. The young team that's still playing people and growing and emerging continues to be the Seahawks.
Here's Atkinson again. Tracked down by Brock Coyle and Jordan Hill. Seahawks use their final timeout to stop the clock with 2:31 left to go. Well, in the pregame, we talked about the position battles, and this is one where there's so many guys that the Seahawks are so fortunate to be deep. But they got to find a way to get some of these guys in there.
Yep, you saw a couple tonight not go, and Thurl Simon didn't make the trip. Jeremy Lane didn't make the trip, and it elevated some of this depth into some positions, and there were some challenges there in the first quarter. I know John Schneider's going to enjoy getting home and digging through this film, and he's going to have a couple late nights and a lot of hours spent looking at all of those waiver wires, all the moves and transactions all around the NFL in the coming days.
Brock Coyle hits Jeremy Stevens before he got to the line of scrimmage. That should take us to the 2-minute warning.
And I know this as well. There's a lot of teams all around the NFL looking forward to seeing what John Schneider has to cut to get down to that mandated 53.
Two minutes left in the 2014 preseason.
Back here in Oakland, California, the Seahawks trailing the Oakland Raiders 38-31. 2 minutes left. Aaron Levine alongside Mac Strong. Mac, true Pete Carroll fashion here, always compete to the end, right?
I love it. I love the fact that they've fought their way back, and now they're only a touchdown away from tying this thing up. But look, they played it a lot better in the second half. I like there's some guys that have really shown up. B.J. Daniels, Brian Walters, Spencer Ware, all these guys, I think they've done themselves a great service.
Well, let's go back upstairs and Kurt and Brock, guys.
All right, Giorgio Tavecchio going to try a 47-yard attempt. And he gets that. So extends the lead to 10 points. Well, as we reach the final 2 minutes here of preseason, Brock Heward, let me be the first to thank you again for another fantastic job working with you this preseason campaign. And
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun to watch what this guy has crafted, isn't it? And we spent a lot of time last preseason saying, boy, if this team can stay healthy and they can continue to grow and develop, John Schneider and Pete Carroll have built the best roster in the NFL, and a lot of that played true throughout the season. And this one is, I think, better in some spots. I think offensively with what they've done this preseason, it's not a fluke. And people will say, well, it's preseason, sure, but it's preseason for everybody. And you look at what they have done and the ease with which the number ones have done it, they're going to be more explosive offensively. I think John knows continuing to refill and restock and develop some of those people in that secondary, on that D-line, will continue to be a constant move and churn.
you talk about the difference in the offense and it being better than the one that won the Super Bowl last year. And if you look at just, we've used the word so many times this preseason, the diversity.
Yep.
There's not one guy. A lot of teams you go, okay, we can game plan to stop this guy and we'll be okay. I tell you what, with the way Marshawn Lynch runs the football and having Percy Harvin, hopefully, knock on wood, for a full season, I got the difference maker, or the plays at tight end, or the multiple wide receivers they've got. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback.
And to add to that, Kurt, when you've got a quarterback that makes other people better, and he helps his offensive line, when you've got a running back that's going to make the people on the perimeter better because of the numbers that people defensively have to commit, and then when you've got a receiver that makes your line and running backs better because they're going to be fearful of a Percy Harvin's explosiveness and speed. And there's a reason that Russell has been so good and smiling an awful lot this preseason. He knows that the tools and that tool belt for Darrell Bevell and Tom Cable and Pete Carroll offensively a lot more vast than they were a season ago.
Here's B.J. Daniels still in the quarterback. Morrell Presley sliding and making the catch, untouched, gets up, adds a couple of extra yards afterwards. 22 total yards on the play. Daniels pulls it down. Looking a little bit like Russell Wilson on that scramble. And the thing that makes Seahawk fans so excited about the season is not just that, yeah, there's more diversity, there seem to be more weapons, but it's the guys that have come back and that continue to play, like Russell Wilson, have gotten better as individuals from where they were at this time last year.
Yep, that's exactly right. A good night here for B.J. Daniels. As Max Strong said, when you get your opportunity, you don't know when it's going to come, you don't know how many snaps you'll get. Make the most of them.
Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Tell you what, when that banner comes down Thursday night, that stadium has had a lot of roars over the last few years between the Beast Quake early on and Pete Carroll's regime, and a season ago with the tip when you were there with the whole Fox crew for the NFC Championship game. That banner comes down, that 12th man, that first snap, that noise and that intensity that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are going to feel.
Let Paul Richardson a little too much on that one, did Daniels?
It'll be pretty electric.
Can't wait to see it. That's 1 week from tonight, Thursday night. I think everybody's had that circled on their calendar for quite a while. The Green Bay Packers will come into CenturyLink to open up the regular season. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks seem to be just primed for it.
And my hunch is that technology that they've got all over the place and the team flight home, there's going to be guys already digging into Green Bay. Once this game ends here in the final 82 seconds, it's going to be right to game planning and getting to work for a Thursday that's going to come real fast.
On fourth down, Daniels zips that one incomplete. Chris Matthews, the nearest receiver, and so the Seahawks will turn it over on downs. The Raiders will take a knee a couple of times, and that'll be it for the preseason. .117 left to go on the clock. Pete Carroll and company can't stop it. They're out of timeouts, and so they will finish, barring a miracle, the preseason at 2-2.
Got some real good work in offensively. Got a possession, one possession went right down the field. You got a good mix of your young people on that defensive line in really early. Finding that rotation. What you're going to do with some of the different moves you've got to make on the perimeter, both sides of the ball. Marshawn Lynch, healthy, ready to go. I mean, I think that's the big thing. So a couple of the youngsters dinged up tonight. Pierre Lewis, Cassius Marsh came out of the game, but largely you got your first teamers to the fight Thursday night.
The first team that appears to be ready to go in what many consider to be the toughest division in all of football, the NFC West this year. San Francisco having gone to 3 straight NFC Championship games. They've struggled a bit offensively this preseason. See if they can straighten it out. You expect them to be there. Arizona, a 10-win team last year. And St. Louis having to find a way to get around the injury to Sam Bradford. But the defending champions of the division and the National Football League, the Seattle Seahawks, put a period on the preseason.
Well, Kurt, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun last year. Let's hope that you and Terry and all the crew will be out for the NFC Championship game again. That was a lot of fun last season. And I know the folks in Seattle would sure like to see you guys again.
Every chance I get to come to Seattle, I'm there. And so 41-31 is the final. The Seahawks wrap up the preseason at 2-2. Same story for the Raiders. And that'll do it for Brock Hewitt. I'm Kurt Menefee. Aaron and Matt with the post-game show from Oakland right after this.